Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Hey Alexa, play Run This Town by Jay-Z. get up to 8,000 likes, we will open up the panel. So if you are interested in joining the conversation, please, please, please go ahead and request up, because as soon as we get to 8,000 likes, we will open up the panel. Yeah, I saw it and I thought, that is an interesting way for Donald Trump to make money, but we'll find out. Guys, if you are someone that is excited about the direction that the country is heading, go ahead and request up. If you are excited about the way the country is heading, go ahead and request up. If you are someone that's worried about the way that the country is heading, I want you to request up as well. This is Late Nights with Santana, and everyone gets a voice. As you get onto the panel, please, please, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself as you get up onto the panel, and I will do introductions here in just a moment. If you are interested in joining, joining, go ahead and request up again. What's going on, Papa? Hey, Pat. If you are interested in actually joining the panel, please go ahead and request up, but mute yourself as soon as you get up onto the panel. Guys, this is Late Nights with Santana, and everyone gets a voice. Everyone gets an opportunity to speak. Guys, we have our daily gift goal, which are the pink heart puffs. If we could, can we please, please, please go ahead and knock those out? And again, if you have not sent your daily heart me, go ahead and send it. It's only 1 coin, and it helps boost the live. We're going to go ahead and go around the panel and do a quick introduction, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with John. John, how are you this evening, my friend?
Sorry, I'm doing well. Sorry, it's like they changed where the mic is and everything. It's annoying.
Oh, John, I didn't know who you were for a moment.
Oh no, my other 2 accounts are live banned right now, so I can only join up on this one.
Of course. John, can you tell me, are you excited about the direction that the country is currently heading under this new Trump administration?
Well, kind of twofold. I'm excited that there are going to be Trump supporters that are harmed by it, so they get what they deserve. But 2, I'm worried about it personally. What's going to be affecting me is, for the first time in my entire life, I just started getting health insurance and all that. And I'm afraid of what's going to happen with health insurance under Trump. I'm afraid of what's going to happen with prescription prices, with like already what he's doing with like insulin and all that. That scares me as someone that is overweight. I'm getting ready to get blood work. But anyway, and the whole thing with the media being suppressed, him saying that he's going to go after reporters that are using like anonymous sources. It's crazy to me.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. There is a lot happening, and yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jay. Jay, if you would like, you can join the panel. It seems like you have a few things to say. You definitely have this ability to join the panel. Ash, how are you this evening, my friend?
I'm good, Santana. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Ash, are you excited about the direction that the country is currently heading under this Trump administration?
No. And my children are absolutely feral tonight, so I'll make it quick and you can drop me. I just didn't know if anybody had seen that Caroline Levitt said that Elon is not the head of Doge anymore, and it's somebody else.
Yeah, we did see that. She talked about how there's someone who's been in charge of Doge, and they've been in charge of Doge, but then she went back to saying Elon was in charge of Doge. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny because she said earlier she wasn't going to release the name, and then hours later she did. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all about legal protections. So
yeah, for sure. But I've got 3 feral kids that are wide awake right now, so I will take care of that, but I will keep listening. Just wanted to see, but all right, I'll be here.
Perfect,
but you can drop me.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Guys, if you are someone that is excited about the direction the country is currently heading, please go ahead and request up. If you're someone that's worried about the direction that the country is heading, go ahead and request up. This is Late Nights with Santana, where we have a respectful panel discussion and all get a voice. Rebecca, normally I would say no, but I know you, so of course you can come up. Rebecca. Izzy, how are you this evening, my friend?
Good. How are you doing, Santana?
Wonderful, wonderful. Izzy, can you tell the people, are you excited about the current direction that the country is heading?
I cannot think of a single thing that I am less excited about.
Okay. All right, perfect. 1 second. Um, is it Aiden?
Yeah, Aiden.
Aiden, how are you this evening, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. Aiden, are you excited about the current direction that the country is heading in?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty concerning situation, and hopefully we'll get out of this fine. But at the moment, I'm pretty concerned.
Okay. Perfect. Give me 1 second here. Cabe. Caleb, I'm sorry. Caleb, how are you, my friend? Or
I'm
I'm
doing
sorry.
good.
How do you say your username? I'm messing that all up. I can tell. I can't see if
Nah,
it's an I or L.
it's a L. My name's Caleb.
Okay, Caleb. Caleb, are you excited about the direction that the country is currently heading under this new Trump administration?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. You want to tell us why?
Well, for 4 years, I'm owner operator, and I started in 17 when right in the middle of Trump's first presidency, and the first week that I'm gonna be respectful because I've already lost my composure on one of these liberals.
Please, we have a respectful panel here, my friend.
I'm gonna be
Please,
respectful.
you're good. Go ahead.
The first week that Biden took office,
Mm-hmm.
my fuel bill doubled. Like literally the first week,
Oh, you said it doubled.
it doubled. My
Okay.
fuel bill doubled.
Okay.
There has not been one thing that I can think of that man has done for the United States and the people of the United States. And I couldn't be any happier with the direction that it's going.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Give me one moment here, my friend. Okay. Let's see. Malika, how are you this evening? And actually, Caleb, you have a bit of background noise. Would you mind muting yourself while we're still doing introductions, please? Thank you, my friend. Malika, how are you?
I'm good.
Wonderful. Malika, are you excited about the current direction that the country is heading under this Trump administration?
Not at all. The
Okay.
only thing I'm excited about is when they get kicked out like Jazzy Jeff.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. Give me 1 second here, my friend, okay? All right. Chief, how are you this evening, my friend?
What's going on? It's Chef.
Chef.
What's going on, Santana? How's the night going?
Good. Chef, are you excited about the current direction that the country is heading under this new Trump administration?
Currently, I can't say I'm excited about it. I haven't seen any promise in it currently, so no, not at all.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Give me one moment here. All right, guys. We have 2 spots left on the panel. I am going to leave these spots open for now because I would love to actually get 2 more people who are excited about the way that the country is heading under this Trump administration. I want to make sure that we give an opportunity for people to speak. Nate, I see you're back. Nate, if you would like to join, you can definitely get a spot. You did pretty well last night. So you can definitely have an opportunity to come back up on the panel. If you are someone that is excited about actually where the country is heading, please go ahead and request up. If you are someone that is not so excited about the country and the direction that it's heading, I'm going to ask that you please hold off for now. We have enough quote-unquote friendlies, and I don't want to overload the panel. I want to make sure that we all have an opportunity to actually speak. So if you are someone that is excited about the way that the country is heading, go ahead and request up and you will get an opportunity to speak. Hey, Paul, how are you? Guys, again, if you are someone that's excited about the way that the country is heading, then go ahead and request up and I will add you to the panel and you will get an opportunity to speak. In the meantime, in between time, I want to go ahead and cover a couple of things. Howdy, partner. This is for the people on the panel. For the people on the panel, please remember, I want us to be able to have these conversations, so please be mindful of the language that you use. So use language that will protect not only your life, but the live and as a whole. So please use words like pew pew, unalive, mustache man, C19, those type of words. That will also help allow us to continue to have the conversation. And I do want to remind you guys that this is a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means that we don't deal with any of the isms: racism, sexism, classism. We also don't do any of the phobias: homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't deal with that on the panel, nor in the comments. And speaking of the comments, chat, please, please, please be respectful and do not use caps. Caps are for mods. It draws my attention away from the panel and to the actual chat, and I want to be able to have these conversations. So please be respectful in the chat. If you are not, my mods will mute and block you. They don't play that. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started here, guys. Keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up. Let's get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Let's get the shares up to 50 shares. Also, guys, if we can knock out our daily gift goal, it will help boost the live. It's the little finger heart hand. So if we can knock that out, that'll help boost the live. Also, if you have not sent your daily heart me, please, please, please go ahead and send it. It's only 1 coin, and it helps boost the live. With that being said, I want to come back to my friend Caleb. Caleb, I want to start with you. I know that you said that you're excited about the current direction that the country is heading. And you said that you're an owner operator, and so I definitely understand your perspective. You want someone that's going to be beneficial to you and your business. And I guess the question that I have, though, Caleb, I know that a lot of people might not have a perspective like you, as far as someone that has to actually understand the dynamics of hiring, firing people, right? I would love to hear your perspective on the mass government layoffs that the Trump administration is currently doing, and even more so, not necessarily the fact that they're laying people off, but the overwhelming speed that they're conducting these layoffs, and how it seems like they're kind of putting our country in jeopardy around that. What are your thoughts? Do you see any issues with it, especially as, you know, again, someone who is a owner operator and you understand that business perspective?
I mean, me personally, I don't really. When a business is in trouble, the first thing that a good business owner does is trim the fat.
Mm.
If it's this or that or whatever it is, if it's becoming a liability and a expense, an unnecessary expense, I guess is the words I should say. Hiring 87,000 IRS agents, I don't see a sense in that. I don't see how that would benefit the American people. You've got now that we know what Doge has been doing as far as recovering, what is it now, $400 billion?
Oh, that's not true, my friend. You didn't see?
I haven't here the last day or two. Fox News said something about $400 billion being recovered the other day.
Oh yeah, no. Not only is that not true, it's interesting. So, you know, Doge has actually been trying to, you know, say that they are, you know, transparent. And so with that actual transparency, they're looking, or they've been posting different things to their website. But some of the largest items that they quote unquote have as savings, they have officially taken those things down, because those aren't really savings. They're actually walking back on a lot of things that they said that has been savings.
Oh, okay. Well, I stand corrected. I'm one man show.
Yeah, no worries.
I work for myself.
Yeah.
I just know, in my opinion, if something's costing me money, that's not a necessary expense. When times get like they have been the last 4 years, I mean, people say that an election doesn't matter, but I can tell you, the last year, trying to work through the election year, an election matters, whether it be a Democrat or Republican on the other end on the outcome. Trust me when I tell you, your president matters as far as how people spend money and how they, you know, buy things and do things. And I mean, the freight market, I'm in the trucking business, and the freight market has been terrible. The past year and 6 months, coming up to the election year, and then the election year, I mean, there was bukus of people going belly up. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not a very political person. I
No, no,
just
no. Listen, you're good for, and I appreciate you coming up here and sharing your thoughts. I mean, like again, this isn't a debate. This is a panel discussion, and your experiences are valid. The information that you bring and even exchanging information is valid. Thank you for actually sharing that. We're gonna go hold tight for me just a moment. We're gonna go around the panel a little bit, and I want to dig a little further in that, but I will be right back to you. Okay?
that's fine, buddy.
Perfect, perfect. Hey guys, W's in the chat for Gene. Gene sent a $3 donation saying, Gene, that's mean. This isn't me. I'm just reading off the donation. Gene sent a $3 donation saying, give this to Cabe. He needs it for gas. W's in the chat for Gene for the $3 donation. W's in the chat for Faye, who sent a $25 donation saying, thank you for all that you do, my brother. Faye, thank you so much for your $25 donation. You are absolutely far too kind. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Guys, that means now that we only have $222 left in our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And again, if you are someone that is excited about the direction that the country is currently heading in, please, please, please request up. I'm going to save this last spot for you so we can give you an opportunity to share your voice. Last but not least, what up, Twitch? What up, YouTube? Can you guys hear me okay tonight? I want to make sure we're good over on Twitch and YouTube. So can you guys drop something in the chat and let me know that you can hear me? Izzy, I want to come to you. Izzy. I'm gonna lean on you for a second. I'm gonna lean on you for a second because so I would love to hear your thoughts because Caleb actually made a good point, right? Whenever there's an actual issue when it comes to like business and those actual, when you start to get to a point where you're hemorrhaging money or you're in bad shape, you look to quote unquote trim the fat. And I guess the bigger question I have is it trimming the fat with the amount of people that are being fired from the government and the rapid pace, especially when there's people like the people that are directly in charge of helping take care of our nuclear arsenal, or people who are in charge of helping protect us against bird flu. Like, what are your thoughts around that?
So the thing with Doge is very reminiscent of Rego, or I believe it was reinventing or restructuring government from the Clinton administration in the 90s. The key difference between, or there were a few key differences between the two departments, or the two initiatives, as it were, is that Rego was approved by Congress. It was voted on in Congress and approved by them to go in and essentially do audits and then make recommendations to both Congress and the presidential administration to say, hey, this is where we can save some money. This is where we're hemorrhaging a little bit more money than we should be. And I believe in the end it resulted in $370,000 to $380,000, or sorry, 370 to 380,000 jobs, not dollars, that was cut out from the federal government. Doge was something that was created by Trump, was not approved by Congress. This, in essence, makes it unconstitutional, which is where I draw a lot of issues with Doge, is that it is unconstitutional. Also, Doge is, and this isn't to knock on them for their age, it is more so a place of they don't have the necessary qualifications to be able to do an audit. You have a bunch of young 20-something-year-old people who are going into this who are not forensic accountants. They're not accountants at all. They are simply people who are good with computers. And they're going in to do financial audits where they don't have the experience to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing, because I know people, they've been categorizing it as audits, but it's not necessarily that at all, right? And I think when getting a deeper understanding as far as what's actually happening versus what they're doing, I think that would help really maybe set the stage for Caleb and others. Hawk, I want to come to you for a second.
Uh-huh.
Can you? So Izzy just kind of hit something, right? Speaking to the group of people that are quote unquote doing these audits, right? And I know you have a military background, you have a ton of experience. I know you've seen an actual effort of when or what it looks like when the government is being held accountable and things like that. What do you know about the difference between these quote unquote audits and a normal process of audits within the government?
Well, first of all, making me follow Izzy is kind of unfair, but I'm gonna try. First and foremost, audits are very detailed, very complicated things, and they don't get done in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't even get done in a couple of months. It might
Mhm.
take 6 months to a year to do a good audit, depending on what it is and how bad it might be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. Um, in agreeing with Izzy, or maybe a little pushback, because I would argue that and I put it in the chat, it's a combination of their age, their education, and their experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one or two of them were only like 19,
Mm-hmm.
so they can't have the education per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is for me, and this is a big one for me, is subject matter experts, right? Because audits aren't just about the accounting, it's also about knowing the application that money or those numbers go to, right? So if
Absolutely.
it's an HR issue or whatever, you have to also understand human resources as well as the accounting part in order to get that correct, right?
Right.
And they're going through all these different departments or whatever without any knowledge per se on those individual departments, as well as very little to no accounting
Mm-hmm.
knowledge. So how exactly are they auditing? And again, when you go in for an audit, you're looking to see if there is a problem. They're going in looking for money that they can figure out a way to pull out. So they're doing the process backwards, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and I think that's where the key, that's the disconnect for me, right? I think that's the part that I have a problem with, that a lot of people who are supporting their effort, they lean into what's being done without understanding, like, there is real life ramifications behind looking at a spreadsheet and then eliminating a number by just looking at a spreadsheet, or actually just saying, this came up with a query, or we use our algorithm to actually pump out these connected words with these connected numbers, and we're going to eliminate this. Without understanding the overall connection of said funds and actions of whatever you're being funded, it's a super dangerous thing. I want to come to John. John, I want to come to you because so Hawk kind of mentioned it, and he spoke to Elon Musk and the people that he's putting around him, and the people that are doing these quote unquote audits, and the savings. But John, I would like to hear more so, because a lot of people think that Elon Musk is somehow doing this out of the kindness of his heart. There's some level of generosity, and he's just trying to quote unquote save the world. But there's also people pushing back and saying that they believe that there might be some nefarious intentions. What are your thoughts as far as not only what Elon Musk is doing with Doge, but you take a look at what happened today and the type of leniency that he got as far as addressing the president's cabinet meeting, and basically at certain points looking like he was conducting the meeting himself. What are your thoughts around that, and also like how much freedom he's given within the government?
See, what I find wild is, right, if people want to make the argument that it's an audit, I don't, clearly it's not, literally, you and Hawk and Izzy got that across, right? But if you want to make the case that it's an audit, shouldn't audits be carried out, especially when it involves the government? Shouldn't they be carried out by an impartial entity? And Elon is 1000% not an impartial entity. And I don't think I've ever seen a civilian like Elon have the power that he does to be able to speak from the Oval Office and to be able to speak from the meeting like he did yesterday or earlier today, the way he does. And and he's clearly not being altruistic. They have these harebrained schemes that they want, with the budget that they proposed, right? That, they have no idea at how they're going to pay for any of it, and what they're doing by going through these cuts and everything that Doge is doing. What they're doing is trying to fish around and find money for their budget. That's what they're doing, clearly. And you have entities like the VA that they're cutting jobs from when the VA is already shorthanded. So, people complain, and, Trump supporters say they support the military, right? Rah, rah, all that. But you see them supporting cuts that are being done to the VA when they're already shorthanded. I don't understand how that's supposed to help people.
Okay, you know what? That's actually a really, really good point. Really good point. Thank you, Gene. Let me say this real quick, guys. W's in the chat for Kimberly. Kimberly sent a $10 donation, and Caleb, this one, she gave you a shout out. Kimberly sent a $10 donation saying, while I disagree with Caleb, I respect his demeanor. I absolutely agree. Caleb has been very easy to talk to so far. But Kimberly, thank you so much for that $10 donation towards the nightly donation goal. Guys, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, and entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. Keep tapping the screen, guys. Let's get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Let's also get the shares up. Let's get the shares up to 100 shares, and let's knock out the daily gift goal, which are the little heart fingers. Caleb, I want to come back to you. I want to come back to you just for a half a second, because Gene said something that's really interesting. I guess, Caleb, have you heard much about the actual budget that was passed last night through the House? But not only like what's happening with the budget, but how the budget is going to impact a lot of people in need, whether it be people who are relying on Medicaid, people who are relying on SNAP benefits, but more so even that, like these cuts directly affect our veterans. What are your thoughts around the actual Republican Party really cutting funds away from people in need and our veterans?
The only thing that I've heard, and which actually was a while ago, it came across that they had came together on a budget, I suppose you might call it. And they asked Mike Johnson if Medicaid was gonna be affected, and he assured the lady that Medicaid would not be affected. The only thing that would be affected by Medicaid would be undocumented illegal immigrants receiving, I think he said it was like $50 billion a year. $50 billion a year. I think that's what he said.
Okay.
Something about the waste. I really haven't. I may not be the person for this conversation, because I really haven't.
You're perfectly fine, Caleb. I was just seeing how much you knew about it and just wanted to get your thoughts on what you knew. So you're good. You're good.
I have an opinion about the audits, though, and if I can, and I feel like Democrat, Republican, Independent, if you get up and go to work every day, I feel like across the board, there's a lot of things that Joe Biden did that I didn't agree with, and there's a lot of things that Donald Trump's doing that some of these folks don't agree with. But I tell you, when I got up at 3 o'clock this morning, went to work, 4 o'clock, whatever time it was, the government wasn't there. They didn't work with me all day. They didn't help me with my daily task. And they only show up on payday. And that's just something, no matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, whatever you are, I'm frankly sick of seeing. I mean, they come and they take 33% of your check. That's what I figure my taxes at, is 33% of my check. Whatever I make a year, I figure 33% for taxes. And the government wasn't there for none of that. They wasn't there working and putting the effort in.
Okay.
And I just feel like no matter how you believe or what you think, that's something we can all agree on,
Yeah, so let's talk about it. And one thing that I want to call out real quick, and I'm gonna let one of the other panel members speak to this. And also, again, guys, I know there are more than a few friendlies in the box that want to join. I appreciate it. I know that we have a box full of people that want to actually join the panel, but at this moment, I'm only looking for someone who is excited about the current direction of the country under this Trump administration. So if you are not someone that is excited about the current direction of the country under this Trump administration, please, please, please drop out of the box for now. I'm trying to fill this last spot with someone of that position so we don't have too many quote unquote friendlies on the panel, and we will actually cycle people out in a minute. So please, if you are in the box and you are not someone that's excited about the current direction of the country, please do not request up. With that being said, so one thing I want to call out, and this is just for everyone. This is just for everyone. It's interesting. So the proposed budget does not have direct cuts to Medicaid in it. It doesn't. It doesn't have direct cuts to Medicaid, direct cuts to SNAP benefits. It does not have those direct cuts where people can sit there and say, oh, they directly cut this amount from Medicaid, they directly cut that amount from SNAP benefits, they directly cut these items. No, it doesn't have that. But what they have done is structured it and worded it in a way where there's $880 billion being cut from, I think, what is it, the Department of Agriculture?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's one.
yeah, the Department of Agriculture. So they are specifically cutting the actual budgets of the department where those benefits specifically lie, and saying that you have to cut $880 billion from your budget. And there is no way that they're going to be able to cut $880 billion from their budget without directly cutting Medicaid. So they are cutting those benefits indirectly. So that's a way for them to have a kind of like a layer of separation without them necessarily putting their name on it, but still doing exactly what they're saying they're going to do. So that's a thing. I want to come to Chef. Chef, I would love to hear your thoughts, right? Because Caleb said that, you know, basically the government isn't there, and you know, the government's only there when it comes to tax time. But I think a lot of people forget about the certain aspects of the government that we don't think about. And you know, you can look at whether it's your money going towards like the fire department or police, or your money going towards different regulations and trying to keep you safe, or just multiple issues. And so I guess I can understand what Caleb is saying as far as like the overall taxation, but I guess I have more of a problem, and I would love to hear your thoughts. I have a problem that all of these cuts are occurring, and yes, people could use a tax cut, but the budget that was proposed not only does not cut taxes for everyday Americans, but it gives the ultra wealthy a huge tax cut. So, I mean, if we're going to talk about taxes, it didn't include no tax on tip, no tax on overtime, but it did give those ultra wealthy people a tax break. What are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts around it is, I necessarily don't think that the ultra wealthy need a tax cut. I honestly think they should be paying more for taxes to kind of help the lower middle class and be more of a great country behind that. And I can definitely see where Caleb was talking about as far as you can only necessarily see the government, you know, generally on your paycheck, but there's also a bunch of invisible things they always do that people don't think about. The roads, the electricity, schools. There's tons of things that are always handled by the government that people don't always think about because it's not the first-hand thing they're dealing with. So I can definitely understand where he's coming from that.
Sure.
But you can't forget the government's always there. Even if you don't see them directly, they're indirectly still there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's something that people take for granted, and something that we can definitely kind of lean on. Malika, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, Malika, I would love to hear your thoughts. Right, I mean, again, to Kayla's point and to Chef's point, like no one, I think we can all agree that we don't like the actual taxes, right? But Chef made a point, and I agree. Like there are certain aspects of where our tax money we don't necessarily see it on a day-to-day basis, but it is benefiting us. But even more so, Caleb was speaking to the actual taxes, but this budget that's been proposed is going to cut taxes for the ultra wealthy and not do nothing for us except raise our taxes. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. I was thinking of an analogy as y'all was speaking. Like, say America is a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
The government is like the foundation, the infrastructure of the house, and no, you don't see the nails and the screws and the beams and the such and such. But if they were going, you would definitely feel it.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
That's a pretty good analogy.
so and also with Doge, like these people they're not even carpenters. They're not general contractors. They just pulling beams and cutting walls and cutting wires and pulling pipes that they don't understand. Yes, some of those things may be outdated, old, or could be replaced, but they're not doing it in a way that will keep the house functioning.
Mm. Okay.
So that's my little 2 cents.
Listen, that analogy has some teeth. Okay. Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
I had a thought, if I may, when you get a second.
All right, give me a second. I'm gonna come right back to you.
You're good.
I want to come to Aiden. Aiden, I want to go down that thought train that Malika just took us on. So, Aiden, not even necessarily about the taxes, right? But there are certain aspects where, again, the country, if you look at it as a house, there are certain nails and wiring and plumbing that we don't see that seem to be getting uprooted right now, right? And it's being uprooted by Doge, and it's being driven by the Trump administration. And a lot of people only they say, oh, well, there's government workers and they're not doing anything and they don't want to return to work. And then you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene out saying, oh, that they don't, federal workers don't deserve a job and things like that. But then you talk about these people that make our country go without us knowing about it. What do you think is what do you think about the course that we're currently on, if this is something that's going to hold, where you see things like either key government people being laid off or fired, or you see them, like what happened yesterday, key members of the government retiring and protest votes. What do you think is the course that we're on, and how that's going to affect the country?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Absolutely. I think it's pretty concerning. I consider myself to be a student of history. So looking back at some of the historical kind of precedent, it's definitely very alarming when we see things like these, what they might not view as essential, but what effectively are essential government employees having their jobs taken away. And it's really creating this kind of vacuum in our society, I suppose. So as someone that's very kind of focused in on history and trying to right the wrongs of the past in a way, or trying not to repeat it, it's very concerning to see things like people just coming in and making willy-nilly cuts to things like the Department of Labor or the VA or all that stuff. We didn't always have these fantastic safety nets in place. So when I think back to what life was like before we had these kind of safety nets, and to see the trajectory that we seem to be currently on, it's definitely very alarming. to say the least.
Okay. Okay, see, now you got me thinking. Now you have my wheels spinning, and Okay, I want to take us down another train of thought. With that being said, let me read these out, guys. W's in the chat for Hilda. Hilda sent a $10 donation saying, "I love when Hawk is on the panel. I do as well. Hawk always brings the thunder." W's in the chat for Hilda for that $10 donation, guys. That means that we are now only $202 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. I know we can absolutely do it. There's 235 of us hanging out, so if 202 people send $1, we can close out our nightly donation goal, guys. It allows us to actually host these lives. So Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. Caleb, I want to come back to you for a second, and then John, I'm going to come to you because I know you had a point, but I'm going to follow up with you, so we'll get to your point, and I want you to answer this as well. But Caleb, question for you. So, with that being said, and Aiden talked about being like a student of history and seeing how things are actually going, and things that weren't always in place that are in place now. I guess my question to you, being someone who supports Donald Trump and you're excited about the direction that the country is heading, but then when you look, thank you so much for the cake. When we take a look at like the certain things that they're doing as far as also targeting rollbacks on like consumer protections and rollbacks on EPA protections and rollbacks on like banking protections, right? They're trying to actually roll back the initiative where banks can't charge you exorbitant overdraft fees and have predatory lending actions. Like all of these things that have been put in place to protect everyday Americans when it comes to their money, when it comes to their health, when it just comes to life. I know you said that you've been hurting over the past 4 years, and I can appreciate that. But do you think with rolling back all of these different levels of protections, like, do you think that's going to improve your and just everyday Americans' quality of life?
Well, I mean, to be fair for everybody, I mean, we're 2 months in.
Mm-hmm.
When you rebuild something or when you go to repair something, there's going to be a stage of things that maybe is painful for you, or maybe a stage that you don't want to cross or go through, but it's a necessity for the big picture. I'm not saying I agree with everything the man's doing, because I don't, and if I told you I did, I'd be a liar. But I will say that as a whole, for the big picture, I do believe that he's the best man for the job. I think that the man's. Excuse me.
Hawk, you're not muted.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. He didn't realize. Go ahead, Caleb.
Oh, I guess my biggest thing is we're 2 months in, month and a half, 2 months in, and everybody's throwing these opinions all over the place about Elon's this, and I don't know much about Elon Musk. I don't know why he's doing what he's doing. I don't have any idea. If I said, like I said, if I told you I did, I'd be a liar. All I'm saying is that let's get back on this live in August or September and see where our lives are, see how things are, and then we can sit around and talk about how poor of a job he's doing or how good of a job he's doing. I mean, one of the things about a lot of people that think differently than me that I don't understand, if Joe Biden would have come in 2020 and just knocked it out of the park, I don't agree with Joe Biden, but if he would have done what was best for this country, I'd have been all for him.
So let me ask this, and then John, I'm coming to you because I want to hear your thoughts as well. But what do you think? So you don't think that Joe Biden did anything to help the country?
No, absolutely not. I mean, a man couldn't even finish a sentence.
Okay, all right. So what about the PAC Act that helped benefit veterans and expanded the medical coverage for those veterans that were exposed to Agent Orange? You don't think that was beneficial?
I don't know anything about that, to be honest with you.
Okay, I mean that's fair. That's fair. What
Oh.
about the infrastructure bill, the largest infrastructure package that was passed? Something that not only that Donald Trump was trying to pass and he couldn't pass, but Barack Obama wanted to pass and he couldn't pass. It was a deal that actually put in place and helped develop the overall infrastructure of our country, which is much needed because the railroad system, the road system, all of those are badly in need of upgrading. You don't think that was beneficial?
Well, meanwhile, while all that's being done, we're sending billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine, not to mention the people in North Carolina. I don't know if you saw any of that, but they're sitting up there, people literally freezing to death in tents, and they're offering them $750. I don't even want to get into that.
Do you understand why though?
Where would they have spent it? I mean, the whole Western North Carolina was destroyed. I mean, how would they have got, if they had the $750, how would they have got help? I mean, how would they have, $750 isn't going to do a whole lot when your house is floating down a river.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And Hawk, I know you wanted to take this. I was gonna come to you and let you take it, but I wanna leave. I'm gonna let Hawk take this one, but I do want to leave off with this one point because, and we'll get back to it. There's multiple things that the Biden-Harris administration did, and I think that one big problem that the Democrats don't that have is that they don't know how to quote unquote brag, right? They don't talk about all the things that they achieve, and so we can talk about the PAC Act, we can talk about the infrastructure bill, we can talk about the Chips and Science Act, we can talk about multiple things that the Biden-Harris administration actually accomplished, but they don't know how to act. Democrats don't know how to brag. But even specifically talking about that $750, right? Fun fact, the only reason that they were able to get $750 and it wasn't lower is because the Biden-Harris administration actually went to Congress and they got them to raise the amount of money that was for emergency funds for immediate release for FEMA, right? And it was $500 before that. And so they at least got an increase, and that is for immediate payment, or there was a whole different process after that. But Hawk, I would love to hear you talk about just for a moment, specifically speaking to the actual funds that are being received in North Carolina, what that situation was about, and two for one, I would love to hear you kind of touch on Trump's proposal for FEMA.
I'm not even sure if I'm aware of whatever his latest thing is on FEMA, but
and you want to get it up out the paint.
Oh, that's right. He wanted to send it back to the states. You're
Yep.
right. To his specific point, and you already said it, but I will reiterate this: the $750, which, oh by the way, under Trump's last term was only $500, is only for immediate relief. That means you got kicked out of your house because of the flooding or whatever it was or whatever, you've got money to buy the emergency things that your family needs, to get food right away, diapers if you need it for the kids, whatever you need to take care of you right now until the situation is resolved. And then FEMA and other organizations will come in and help you rebuild or help you do whatever you have to do. That's how the process works. That's how it's always worked. Right? It's never been an issue till now because in the middle of all of this stuff, they start telling you, well, that's all they gave you. They know how the system works. It's always worked that way. But they're making you think that the $750 is all they'll ever get and that's it. And that's not true. Right? A lot of it depends upon your own insurance. If you have insurance, then once the emergency is over and that $700 has helped you get past that emergency, then your insurance kicks in and everything starts to get fixed, and that's how it works, right? If you don't have insurance, then FEMA will kick in and they will assist you, right? That's the process. So when they tell you they only gave them $750 and that's it, that's not true, right? To the other point that you guys were talking about, all of the different things that Santana was talking about that happened under the Biden administration, all of those things not only helped people, but it created jobs. It was an infusion of money in almost every state. It started jobs for people. Again, the veterans is a big thing because I am a veteran or whatever. And going all the way back, because he mentioned Agent Orange. What people don't understand is the VA used to be crap, right? And this last war made everybody understand how bad it was. And they had been making improvements, but then the PACT Act made even more improvements to the VA or whatever so that they could actually not only help these military personnel from the recent wars, but going all the way back to Vietnam. People that had problem with Agent Orange from back then. People that having problems with burn pits right now. All of those things were able to be addressed because of the PACT Act. That helped millions of American veterans. Okay? So there's a lot of stuff that happened under the Biden administration. There was 4 or 5 bills at least that benefited pretty much the entire country. To the other point, and I don't want to get into the other point because I know you wanted John to talk about that first, but I got some other stuff for the topic that you guys were on before you guys shifted to the comparison between the two administrations.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, and I'll come back to you, Hawk. And also, Aiden, I know you want to speak, but give me a second. Who is it? Samantha, I see you in the chat. I see you said this feels a bit one-sided. Listen, the reason why we have this panel spot open is we would like to actually have someone else up here who is excited about the direction of the country and that wants to speak from a position of supporting Donald Trump. We do have Caleb up here, and we've been giving Caleb the floor, and it is a very respectful panel. But I would like to have someone else here. You're right. I don't want to. No, you're fine. I would love for you. If you would like to come up, you are more than welcome. I don't like it being too many people with the same quote unquote opinion. So if you are interested in joining the panel and help balancing the panel, you are more than welcome up. Or if there's anyone else watching right now that is interested in actually joining the panel and would like to help balance the panel out, please request up. That's why I've been telling friendlies, please do not request up for now. We have enough friendlies. But if there is anyone who is excited about the direction that the country is heading under this Trump administration and they want to actually request up, please go ahead and do so. And again, this is a respectful panel discussion, so you won't be muted. You will have an opportunity to speak. We will allow the panel to actually have balance, but we're trying to leave this open for someone who actually is excited about the direction of the country. So Samantha, if that's you, if you want to speak, feel free to request up, my friend. You will have an opportunity to speak. With that being said, John, I'm going to give you the floor, and then I want to go back to Aiden for the PAC Act information. But John, I want to come to you because I know you had a point. I'm going to let you go ahead and speak on your point, and then we'll move it around.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So my point was, and it kind of came to me because I haven't really heard too many people mention this, but so there's going to be a cycle that's forming here, right? You have all these people losing their jobs from these budget cuts, from what Doge is doing, and you have Trump supporters that are always in MAGA, right, whatever, always talking about how there's too many people on social programs and too many people on safety nets, right? And how those need to be cut. But what they don't understand is what's going to really affect the economy is that all these people losing their jobs are going to end up on those safety nets, on those social programs because of these budget cuts, because of what Doge is doing. So it's creating a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Like Doge is literally creating, quote unquote, the welfare state that they're always talking about they need to get rid of.
Yeah, no, listen, I think you're absolutely right. There is a lot to be said about that when you talk about the amount of people that are being laid off and the speed that they're being laid off, and it is going to put a high demand on the actual. Hey, W's in the chat for Ren. What up, Ren? It's putting a high demand on the actual social safety nets that we currently have in place, but the fun fact about nets, John, is you don't have to worry about them if you cut them.
Right, exactly.
I mean, if they're not there, then all right, Aiden, I wanted to come back to you. You wanted to speak about social safety, or you wanted to speak about the PAC Act, and then I want to also get back to Izzy as well.
Yeah, I apologize for kind of spamming in the chat.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
It's something I'm very passionate about. And like you said, I think that Democrats do need to brag a little bit about
they have no idea how to actually brag about the things that they've done, because they've done a lot of great things, but they listen. And I'm sorry, I'll give it to you. I just want to say, I don't like Donald Trump. I personally don't like Donald Trump. I don't think he's a good businessman. I also don't think he's a good person, but I think he is an amazing marketer. He knows exactly how to market himself. He knows his brand. He knows how to brag. He knows how to take credit when it's not his credit to take, and he knows how to put blame on people even when it's only on him. So the Democrats have no idea how to talk about their wins, even and they don't know how to actually, call out people flaws. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, absolutely, 110%. He's a populist. He understands how to get the people, kind of going.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the PACT Act. So this is something I'm very passionate about, and it's something that I never shut up about in my talking about politics. My grandfather served from 1966 to 68 in the U.S. Army.
Mm-hmm.
He was drafted. He went to Vietnam. He got a Bronze Star. And when he came home, all he did was give his entire life. And then about a year ago, he had a stroke that was caused by Agent Orange exposure. And through the PACT Act, which Biden had, which the Dems have passed, he was able to get the kind of end-of-life care that he deserved, and he was able to pass away with the dignity that he deserved after giving so much to, not only to the country but to his community and everything. So seeing things like the VA getting cuts, especially things that affect things like the PACT Act, it's very disheartening to know that people who gave just as much as my grandfather won't be able to get the care that they deserve for their service.
Yeah. No, that's something that extremely bothers me as well. When you talk about, veterans and people that have served and people who have done so much for our country, but then at the same time, they don't get those things that they've earned, and they should be given because of what they did for our country. So you're absolutely right, and I appreciate the Biden-Harris administration for getting that passed, but there should be more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Caleb, you put in the chat 10,000 pipeliners were fired in the first week of Biden's presidency. I'm gonna look that up. Do you want to tell us what that's about? Because I didn't see that. Caleb?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I mean, he done it through executive order. He shut down all the pipelines. Pretty sure
okay.
when you shut the pipelines down, there goes the jobs. So my thing is like I said.
Hold on, because we got to call this out real quick. When you say shut down the pipeline, are you referring to the Keystone pipeline?
Keystone pipeline.
Okay. I
think he means the XL pipeline part
No,
of it.
I know. Listen, guys, you two both know that I know I'm doing the thing here. I'm doing the thing.
Yeah. They was several, not just the Keystone. That's the one that was in the news, but there were several pipelines around it.
So let's talk about it. Izzy, can you talk about Keystone and then also Keystone XL and kind of put a bow on that one for me?
I will do my best to. It's not.
Or if you're not good with that, then Hawk, you can. I wanted to make sure I got to you to speak on it.
I know the key parts, and the issue is that one, he did not shut it down. It wasn't operational at the time anyway. It had already been shut down by the courts, right? By the Supreme Court. What he did was he ended the leases because the leases were no longer any good because the pipeline had already been shut down by the Supreme Court.
That part.
So he didn't shut down anything. The people that were running that or whatever, there were lawsuits from the reservations or whatever because they were drilling in indigenous people's lands, and there was a whole thing about it or whatever. It went to court, and SCOTUS said, shut it down. It ain't gonna happen. right? So that's what happened. He didn't actually shut down anything. It wasn't operational by the time he got in office. He simply ended the leases for something that wasn't going to be able to happen in the first place based on the Supreme Court. That's what that was. Now, if you have other pipelines, because you were also saying that there was a bunch of others or whatever, if you can name those for us and give us some sources, we can look those up too.
Absolutely.
But I don't remember any pipelines being shut down under Biden.
Well, I can tell you for sure because I hauled the drilling pipe out of there after they shut them down. You know, it's 2025. I can't sit here and just pop off names of pipelines left and right, but I mean, there was several. I can remember hauling drilling pipe to them, and then after they were shut down, I helped haul some of the drilling pipe out of them after they took them apart. So, and then
So here's the issue I have with what you're saying, Caleb. I believe you, and anecdotally you're telling us what you did. I get that, but unless there's some source, some data that actually proves that Biden shut down a pipeline and that company had to shut it down or whatever, that's just something that you think happened or whatever. There's any number of reasons why a company might have decided to stop building their pipeline and move something somewhere else or whatever. You can't blame that on the president unless you have proof.
Well,
if you have proof, we can look that up.
So let me share this real quick because this is something interesting that I found. Right. So this is I went looking for it, and I'm hoping that I can pull this up. Give me a second here, because I know last night my display was acting funny. It's still not working. I don't know why. Okay, we'll figure that out. Anyway, so I was looking for the actual information to find like where could that have been, right? And I found how Biden shut down pipelines that cost hardworking Americans, 11,000 Americans, their jobs, right? And this is on the Energy and Commerce on House.gov, right? But this is specifically published by Congressman Brett Gurteen, representative from Kentucky's 2nd Congressional District of the House of Representatives. So this site was actually, the information was published by a Republican House member speaking on it. But even when it comes to the information, and I am using quotation marks for anybody who's listening and not watching, information that's listed, the only thing that he said, and this is the first thing, on President Biden's first day in office, he shut down the Keystone XL pipeline and eliminated 11,000 good-paying American jobs with the stroke of the pen. So even the propaganda that's being listed is only speaking to the Keystone XL pipeline. But if you actually, go to any other information, whether it comes to like AP News, there's a couple of different articles that's listed here. There's an article from Harvard, which is the eelp.law.harvard.edu, where they talk about the Keystone XL pipeline. There's multiple articles speaking to what happened with the Keystone XL pipeline, and it verifies the things that Hawk said. And even more so, there's no other mention of any other pipelines that were shut down. And so I guess, Caleb, going back to what Hawk said for sure, I believe that you've been nothing but genuine with us. And I'm not saying that you didn't haul any type of pipeline away or anything like that. But what I will say is at the very least, there's nothing else that I could find with doing this search outside of people blaming the Keystone XL for any type of disruptions in those losses of jobs.
Santana, I had a question for you real quick.
Sure.
So, Michael, and this is a thing that I see happening all the time with Trump supporters, but I'm asking you, can you explain to me how bringing up something, even if it were true, if Biden did do that, and we all know it's not, but even if it were true, how does a bad thing that Biden did excuse the bad thing that Trump is doing?
Good question.
Yeah. It doesn't. It doesn't. All right. I mean, to keep it pretty simple, I mean, like it's the thing that we get in a habit of, and I try to make sure that I stay away from it is
To me,
we
and
get
sorry,
into
it's not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
no worries. We get into whataboutisms, right? We get into whataboutisms, and I think that a lot of times we're tribalistic in the sense of like we want our side to be right, or we think that we're right, and so if I say that um, LeBron James is the GOAT because he has the most amazing stats, then the person's gonna say, well, what about Michael Jordan's 6 rings, right? So
Yeah,
I
it
think
sounds
it's
like
more
something
so.
elementary school kids would do.
Yeah, it's more so about a deflection, and either you want to actually put negativity back on someone that you are in opposition of, or you are actually just trying to get away from the overall point. But I like to actually deal with those points and then get back to the actual point as well. So I think it's important to one, call out certain things that we can't substantiate, but two, get back to the points that we originally were on. And so I think all of that's important.
I mean, the only reason that if I may, for just a second,
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead, Caleb.
the only reason that I brought that up was just to point out that regardless of it being Joe Biden or Donald Trump or Kamala Harris or whoever,
Kamala, my friend.
or however you say it, they've all done things that we don't agree with. They've all done things that we thought they could have done differently. They've all done things that we should have, maybe we had an opinion about how we felt like they should have done it. So that's the only reason that I brought that up. I didn't really bring it up to start a big disagreement here, but
May I, Obama? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just simply trying to point out that, regardless of, if you believe one way or the other, they've all done things that, necessarily feel like they could have done different or should have done something to been more conscientious of the American people, or, that's the only point I was making by bringing that up.
May I, Santana?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the overarching theme of the statement that you just made, I think we can agree with. The problem that I have are the specifics, right? Every other presidency that I can think of, and I can remember quite a few of them or whatever, nothing has been as blatant as the things that we are seeing now, potentially costing millions of jobs just this year, right? So sure, are there things that happened under Biden that a bunch of people might not have liked or whatever? Absolutely. But did those things harm the American people in general? Absolutely not. Did they help the American people in general? They did. What's going on now is doing the exact opposite. Aiden brought something up earlier where he was talking about history or whatever. All of these social programs and stuff that we're talking about, let's do a little bit of history and remember when those came about, right? There was something back in the late 20s called the Great Depression, right? And out of that, FDR put together this package, and we started to get all of these different social programs. Social Security came out of that to ensure that we would no longer have people who, once they got to retirement age, wouldn't be able to live or whatever. Government jobs expanded drastically under that because we had all of these programs going on around the country, building bridges and stuff like that or whatever, and had all of these jobs for people so people could actually go to work and make money so they could take care of their families or whatever. Now what's happening is all of those social programs that were put in place immediately following the Great Depression and have increased since then to benefit the American population as a whole, they're tearing that all apart. Now, I don't know if you know this, but back in those days, I'm sorry, somebody say something?
Yeah, no, hold on one second. That was John.
No, you're good. My bad. You're good.
Actually, hey John, I'm gonna swap you out for right now, my friend. Okay?
You're good. I just wanted to say one more thing, but you're good. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. All right. I'll drop you down. And Hawk, go ahead and finish your point, and then I want to introduce a new person on the panel.
Okay, now I got to get my head back together because I forget shit. But again, so they're tearing apart all of these government programs. Oh, this is where I was going. In those days, the average age of, not the average age, but our top age and stuff back then or whatever might have been 50 or 60 years old, right? And so that's grown too over the last almost century, right? 80 years or so. What's going to happen now is a lot of people are going to probably unalive because things like Medicare and Medicaid are going to be so drastically harmed by this, right? A lot of people, veterans specifically, who can't get the benefits and things that they deserve or whatever, are probably going to unalive. So not only are people losing jobs, but people's health and their lives are actually in danger with what's going on with this current administration. On top of the fact that, like Izzy said earlier, the organization is doing it is actually unconstitutional. They have not been sanctioned by Congress. They have no authority to do any of the stuff that they're doing, and yet they're tearing the government apart. I don't understand that.
No. I think there's a lot to be said to that, and we're gonna dig into that. Let me just do this real quick, guys. W's in the chat for Jesse. Jesse sent a $5 donation saying, Caleb, name one of those pipelines, sir. Jesse, chill, Jesse. W's in the chat for Jesse for that $5 donation, guys. That means we're only $196 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. So if you guys are enjoying the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. It helps support the live. It allows us to host these lives. So we can definitely take care of that. With that being said, I want to introduce Team MAGA. Team MAGA was down in the conversation and was kind enough to actually accept our request to come up on the panel. So I want to go ahead and give Team MAGA the floor, and then Naquan, I'll come to you next. Team MAGA, I know you heard what Hawk just said, and just kind of speaking to where we are with the actual cuts that are occurring. And I guess the first question that I would ask, just to verify, are you excited about the direction of our country under the current Trump administration? And then what else would you like to actually add to the conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't be more happier, except there's only one problem. The deportations are not as high as I want.
Trump was upset about that as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, so that's probably the only thing I don't even know if that's a negative, or it's not even, it's kind of a moot point, but anyways, moot. Yeah, I'm sorry. So what was the other point? So for the cuts, I mean, you understand we're $37 trillion in debt, and we can't. I mean, what else are we supposed to do if this was a business, then they'd be cutting employees. You can't just let this go on forever. It's got to start somewhere. Someone's got to do it, and it's been both parties, Republican and Democrats, have kicked the can down the road for decades.
I agree,
because they didn't want to deal with it, and now it's the president wants to take charge and try to get our finances in track. And I think that's the main point.
Okay.
But one more point before you let anyone else.
Sure,
so with Medicare and Medicaid, I think we all know that the more money you throw at something, it's not going to improve the performance. As we've seen in the last decades, they put more money into these programs and people are getting sicker. I don't think we have healthcare. We have sick care, which I think needs to change. But it's just like we can't just keep printing money. So I mean, you might argue that the $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, that's where they're taking it from. Well, we know when they passed it in 2017, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, actually it helped all incomes. Didn't help just the top. Now it might predominantly help the top.
Correct.
Didn't help. So I think our country's we're at 2.1% GDP, or I don't know where we're at, but we're trying to get to with optimal is 4 and above. I think that's the goal. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Listen, you said a lot, friend. You absolutely said a lot, and I know there's a lot of people on the panel that want to reply. So I am not going to say anything to it. We're going to actually open it up to the panel. Let me just read these off real quick. W's in the chat for Gene. Gene, you're perfectly fine. No, you didn't do anything wrong. But W's in the chat. Gene sent a $2 donation saying, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to piggyback off what Hawk was saying, and that a lot of what Trump is doing is repeating history itself. he's doing a lot of that caused the Great Depression. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Whether it comes to the isolationism, the taxes, the actual tariffs, things along those lines, it is very worrisome. So I appreciate you for coming up and thank you for that $2 donation. W's in the chat for Jesse. Jesse sent another $5 donation and said nope. The pettiness will continue. Jesse really wants those pipelines from Caleb. Jesse, come on, Jesse, stall them out, Jesse. W's in the chat for Haley. Haley sent a $1 donation saying Caleb isn't addressing any of the points. He's just saying what about, which tells us he knows Trump's doing is wrong. He just wants to wait 4 years and not to see the harm that's happening right now and hopes that it gets better. You know, I was gonna say something about that, and as far as like where's the line of demarcation and how quickly things can be destroyed versus how long we wait, but I won't get into that. But W's in the chat for all of the donation, guys. That means we only have $188 left in the nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Guys, I am going to put a timer up on the screen because the likes are moving super slow. So we're going to give you guys 15 minutes. 15 minutes to get to 150,000 likes, or we're going to sub only. 15 minutes to get to 100,000 likes, or we are going to sub only. Let's pass it around. Izzy, Team MAGA said a lot. What would you like to respond to?
He did. I am going to go after the immigration or the deportations taking too long for his and Trump's liking, right? So here's the thing: is that there is a very specific reason as to why deportations and the entire immigration pathway to citizenship, whatever the case is, why it takes so long. And that's because we have a thing here in the United States called due process of law that is protected constitutionally and has been supported by the Supreme Court to extend to every person within the borders, regardless of immigration status, regardless of if they are an alien, whether or not they are here, whether or not they cross the border legally or illegally is immaterial in that question. This comes up from the 1903 court case with Japanese immigrant cases. And this also falls under, because naturalization process falls under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18 of the Constitution. So constitutionally, it must take a significant amount of time if we do not have the proper amount of judges and the proper amount of immigration court judges and immigration court prosecutors and defendants. It's going to take a long time. This could have been solved had the Republican senators gone ahead with the bill that they had introduced last year. It was the representatives. It was introduced to the House, not the Senate. My mistake. But regardless, right? The Republicans went back and said, "Hey, actually, this bipartisan bill that we worked on with the Democrats, we actually don't want this because Trump said." No, we don't. I can't have you put this out there because if this isn't there, then I don't have a platform to run on to be able to instill fear in the American people.
Okay. Team MAGA, would you like a chance to respond?
Yeah. So he's right that we do have due process regardless if they're a citizen or not. But these people that are up for deportation, they've already. Their first act going into this country was a criminal act, which is it's still a misdemeanor, but they've already been. There's nothing to argue. It's by default, so it should be quick. So I don't know what else to add.
They must still be proven guilty in a court of law in front of a jury of their peers at a unanimous decision beyond a reasonable doubt. Right.
That shouldn't be that hard. There's not. If you talk about additional crime, that might delay it or take longer, but if there's nothing to argue if they've been here illegally. It should be easy, quick, and done.
Can you tell me something? Under U.S. code, how does one enter the country legally for specifically asylum? Because this is a very significant defense in court.
Yeah, well, I can tell you asylum is going to get thrown out. 1951, 1967, he's going to sign an executive order. But regardless, I'll answer your question. So they have to apply for a green card or visa. I don't know where
Where
else.
do you apply
Oh, at the
for
border.
asylum? No,
At the
you apply for it inside of the United States border. It cannot be at the border because it has to be within the border, right? And in
okay.
addition
Even way
to that,
technical.
and
Sure.
hold on, and it's not technical. It is what is written. And to be completely fair, when it comes to the law, everything must be exact. There is a reason why specific words are chosen in law, because it is a very exact thing.
Of course.
And then, in addition to that, under Title 8 U.S. Code 1158, it is that the person must cross the border, whether through an official port of entry, whether or not through an official port of entry. So, again, when claiming that, going through a court process, it is going to be a lengthy time and must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that they are not truly here for asylum and are here for something else. This is why this is a lengthy case, and there's so many people that have to get pushed through the system, but not enough judges and lawyers to be able to oversee those cases.
Mm-hmm. But you're referring to those individuals that actually went to the border or applied for asylum. I think the vast majority of them just walked over the border, didn't go through the official.
The majority of them actually are just on overstayed visas, just like Elon actually.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did. He overstayed a visa.
He's admitted it.
Yeah. His brother.
And his brother also said, yes, we overstayed our student visas, or we stopped going to school and started working instead, which would be here under unlawful pretenses.
Oh, he should have been deported then.
Exactly.
Correct.
And that is grounds for revocation of his naturalization process. So
it is, and we can also talk about Melania lying on her application as well. I mean, there's a lot to it. I think that a lot of people don't understand how a lot of this happens. Real quick, guys, W's in the chat for Haley. Haley sent a $1 donation saying, I want to hear Team MAGA justify ICE arresting immigrants at their immigration hearing and Trump and other states wanting to detain undocumented immigrants in prison for life. Team MAGA, would you like to speak to any of that?
Yeah, so I'm assuming that she's referring to the criminal illegal aliens that we're going to get sent to Guantanamo or Bukele in El Salvador, the president of El Salvador. Is that what she's referring to? Or
no, she stated that they have been getting arrested at their hearings, and I know specifically she is talking about Guantanamo Bay, which is a whole nother can of worms. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so if they are at their hearing and they were even basically been found or they've been found guilty, I mean, why couldn't they pick them up? I don't get it. Like, if you're illegal, you shouldn't be here. Period. There's no. I mean, it's not for people to interpret the law. That's for the judges to decide. You just gotta enforce it. So I mean, sure, everyone has everyone's a human, and we want. There's some people that maybe they shouldn't be deported, but that's not. You can't pick and choose which laws to enforce. Unfortunately.
But you realize if they're at a hearing, that means they're in the process of doing their asylum claiming. So until a determination is made that they will not get asylum, they're legal until they finish that process. So to pull them out of that hearing, you're preventing them from claiming asylum, which is against the law.
And to add on to that point really quick, by arresting them at their hearing, again, you are denying them due process of law, which violates constitutional rights and sets a very dangerous precedent. And by sending them to Guantanamo Bay, the reason that we use Guantanamo Bay is because it's outside of the United States borders and not on U.S. soil, which allows for non-constitutional things to take place there. And it's typically reserved for people such as enemy prisoners of war or high officials in T organizations over the last couple of decades has been the primary reason.
I just got something I want to ask, if I can.
Yeah, let me just say this real quick, guys. If you can see the timer on the screen, there's a little over 6 minutes left to get to 150,000 likes. If we're not at 150,000 likes by the end of the timer, We are going to go to sub only, so tap the screen, or if you want to, you can always subscribe. If you subscribe, you get access to an amazing Discord with a bunch of resources, great people, a fast pass to join the panels on late nights, and you get access to a bunch of really cool emotes. So please consider subscribing or tap the screen. We got about 6 minutes left before we go to sub only if we don't hit 150. Go ahead, Caleb.
Oh, man, I may be asking a naive question. Obviously, I hadn't been very good at answering the questions you've asked me. Oh,
Caleb, you've been respectful and at least you've engaged in conversation. You've been fine and you've been willing to listen, I think. So yeah, go right ahead.
well, I guess I'm addressing easy here. Something that I'm having a hard time understanding. If you come here illegally,
Mm-hmm.
now you're saying that they are being deprived of the constitutional rights to.
Right, because the Supreme Court has already stated, and their opinion of the court is that people who are within the borders of the United States, regardless of citizenship status and regardless of how they entered the country, whether it was legally or illegally crossing the border, they are entitled to certain constitutional rights. Not the entirety of the Constitution, but they are entitled to certain rights, such as due process of law.
The Fourth and Fifth Amendment.
Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments.
Oh, okay.
Well,
The Sixth, I know that's the Sixth.
Yeah, six would be right to jury of your peers,
You're right.
right to an attorney, right, all
I'm
of the
sorry.
court
You're right. That
proceedings.
makes sense. Go ahead, Izzy. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say I'm glad you cleared that up for me, because I was sure sitting here trying to decide how in the world somebody that came across the border illegally had rights.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is something that goes a long ways back to 1903 was when it was first brought to the attention of the courts. But the Constitution is kind of like the thing that I mostly focus on.
You know, I don't have an issue.
I'm sorry. I was just going to add to what Izzy said. If you think about it from a slightly different perspective, if you were visiting another country on vacation or whatever you were doing there, whatever, would you want the country there to treat you in a bad way and just throw you in jail or whatever, or would you want them to provide you similar rights to what you would have if you were at home?
Well, they don't.
My thing is
Actually, in most cases they do.
No, they don't.
If I go somewhere on vacation, I'm not going to slip across the border and then go over there and ask them to allow me to be a citizen.
Right, but you might accidentally
is,
commit a crime.
Exactly, and the point is that the country will treat you with the same respect that they would treat their own citizens. I'm not saying that you're going to get a pass, right? But they're going to treat you with the same rights and privileges that they give their citizens, and then extradite your butt home or do whatever. But they're not going to treat you like a criminal. They're not going to treat you like a T group person or whatever. That's the point.
Yeah, they will. I mean, I'll tell you, they happened to me. I had friends that went to San Diego, went across the border. My passport was stolen, and I went to the local police station in Tijuana, and I got arrested for making a scene, saying that my cab driver stole my passport, and I had to pay a $300 fine.
Hold on.
Yeah, right.
So, Hawk was speaking to how you would want other countries to treat you with dignity and allow you due process if you were caught doing something illegally or whatever while in another country. And then Team MAGA, your example was you were in Mexico, your passport was stolen, and then you were arrested because you were making a scene
At the police station.
at the police. You Team MAGA, did you go into the police station and turn into a Karen?
No.
You just said that you was making a scene at the police station.
Also, here's the issue, MAGA, is that you are using anecdotal evidence, and for every anecdotal evidence, a rebuttal anecdotal evidence can be used to counteract your point, right? My specific instance is whenever I was PCSing from Fort Polk, Louisiana, now Fort Johnson, Louisiana, to Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson up in Alaska, I drove through Canada. And when I entered the Canadian border, I made the mistake of not declaring the pew-pew that I had in my car, and I was arrested. And then, you know what I was given? I was given the right to speak to an attorney and not have the cops interfere with that. I was given the right to be able to have some type of defense to make sure that I was legally represented in a court of law should it have elevated to that point. Instead, I was given a $1,500 fine and told to go on my merry way and continue through Canada so I could get to Alaska because I was under military orders. So your instance cannot be used as proof.
Hey, just a quick reminder, chat, we got a little over a minute to get to 150,000 likes, or we're going to sub only. So if we don't get up to 150,000 likes, either grab a subscription or keep tapping, because we're going to have to get up to 200,000 likes if we don't make the 150. So tap, tap, tap. I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys.
Can I add to that point? And someone can correct me if I'm wrong.
Who was that, Chef?
Yeah, Chef.
Yeah, go ahead, Chef. You've been patient for a while, and I also want to hear from Naquan and Aiden as well, and Malika. We need to make sure we hear from Naquan, Aiden, and Malika. But go ahead, Chef.
So, I know we were talking about, illegal, undocumented immigrants, entering the country. Isn't it technically a civil crime the first time they enter it, and then
Yes.
re-entrance is when it becomes criminal?
Yep.
So, that's currently, like, early Team MAGA said it was just straight criminal, and it's like, that's not true necessarily.
Okay. Let me explain.
Misdemeanor. It's a civil misdemeanor. Yes,
it's a misdemeanor. So, like the citation is like getting a traffic ticket. It's not a traffic. It's a misdemeanor. And then second time it's a felony.
Let me read these off, guys. W's in the chat for Jesse. Jesse sent a $5 donation and saying, and there it is. He couldn't contain his bigotry. I foresee that Team MAGA crashes out in 3 minutes. I don't think he's gonna crash out, Jesse. Team MAGA's been good. I don't think so. W's in the chat for Jesse for that $5 donation, but Team MAGA has actually been up here engaging in good faith conversation and actually bringing substance to the conversation. But W's in the chat for Jesse for that $5 donation. You are absolutely amazing. Guys, that means that we only have $182 left in the nightly donation goal. There is 257 of us hanging out, so if 182 people send $1, we can close out our nightly donation goal. So Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And with that being said, guys, we did not make it to 150,000 likes in time in order to actually avoid sub only. So we're going to sub only until we get to 200,000 likes. So keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get up to 200,000 likes. Or at the same time, we do have an option to become a subscriber. So if you are not a subscriber, you can definitely grab a subscription, get access to an amazing Discord. You get access to a fast pass to join the panel. You get access to great emotes. It's a great place. So if you are not a subscriber and you want to either chat or actually get access to any of those things, please consider consider becoming a subscriber. And also, W's in the chat for Izzy, who sent a $12 donation to round out the number. Thank you so much, Izzy. Chef, did you want to add anything else? And then I definitely want to hear from Naquan next.
Not necessarily on the undocumented immigrant report. I wanted to go back to the Doge, but I can definitely wait for that.
Okay. Naquan, Aiden, or Malika, before we move off of the immigration topic, did either one of you want to add anything to that point?
I'll say something.
Go right ahead, Aiden.
I'll let Naquan go.
Yeah. To talk on what she was talking about, them snatching them up from jails and stuff. So Rikers Island is pretty much like a jail. You're not sentenced or anything yet. And my mayor is trying to put ICE in there. They haven't been convicted of a crime or nothing. They're literally sitting there waiting for their court date. And what he's trying to do is put them on Guantanamo Bay, which only can hold about 800 and something people. He's trying to put close to 30,000 migrants in there.
That's false. It's only for the violent criminal ones.
It's everyone. No. You can't. First of all, if we're gonna go that route, last year about 17,000 murders was committed. Only 29 of them was committed by illegal aliens. So if we want to go that route, yes, it's actually documented. If
I said undocumented.
Undocumented, my fault. Mm-hmm. If we want to go that route, it's American citizens that should be there.
I would like to make a clarifying point to that statement. The the numbers that are collected by Customs and Border Patrol when it comes to crimes committed by undocumented migrants, they have to include any convictions in other countries in addition to whatever the person is found guilty of here in the United States.
I forgot to add that part. Thanks, Izzy. I did know that part, but I did forget to add that. But it was less than 1%. So if we feel like violent criminals should be there, it's American citizens.
We can't deport American citizens.
Oh, your boy is talking about doing that. Your boy
Naquan,
I wish
go
I
ahead.
doing that. Your boy is talking about finding ways to deport American citizens.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the deal with not Venezuela. Who did you
El
make?
Salvador.
El Salvador.
El
Yeah,
Salvador.
that was the deal with El Salvador. That's the idea behind that is they want to be able to deport American citizens to jails in El Salvador. So that's something that they're actually currently working on.
It's not just any jail. It is their
Supermax.
highest. Yeah, their
Supermax,
supermax.
their highest jail.
Simcoe, I believe, is the name of it.
Their highest jail, where you pretty much have no rights whatsoever in there.
The fact that this
Like
is
5 or 6 a bunk.
in American politics is just mind-numbing to me.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
The fact that that's even a possibility in modern American politics is it's mind-numbing to me.
Yeah, so I mean, there was a whole deal behind it, right? Because they originally were trying to invest additional funds into privatized prisons here. Hey, W's in the chat for Ida for the subscription. Trying to actually invest in private prisons here in the United States, but they couldn't actually get it. They realized it was just so much more expensive, and so that's when they made the decision to actually outsource it. And that's why they're actually willing to do that. But then doing that kind of speaks to, I can't remember if Izzy said this or Hawk said it, it was either Izzy or Hawk. But when you talk about sending people to prison that's outside of the country, then you talk about sending American citizens to a place where their constitutional rights are more than likely going to be violated because there's no direct way to ensure that they're protected. What up, twin? So yeah, that's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And just going back to the Guantanamo Bay thing, especially when we're talking about these undocumented immigrants not having their due process respected, and then we want to ship them off to a legal black site, a government-run camp. I don't know about you guys, but I've read enough. I paid attention in middle school history. I know where that goes. And it's not a good. It's never a good thing. It just feels like the writing's on the wall, and I don't want to be right, but it's.
What are you insinuating?
What am I insinuating? I'm insinuating.
Insinuating.
Sorry. Yeah. When the government decides that they can abridge these constitutional rights to due process and to constitutionality, the rights afforded to us, in order to ship us off to the government-run camps. I think you know what I'm insinuating. I don't want to say it on TikTok Live.
You know what? I'll say it. It's a quote-unquote slippery slope where if you open up that opportunity, then you'll see things like justification. The point that I tried to make when having this conversation with people, because Donald Trump said it out of his own mouth, it's specifically for the worst of the worst, right? It's the most violent criminals, and he set this threshold that you have to be just the absolute worst human being. He talked about, you're unaliving people and you're arrested 26, 27 times, which one, I haven't heard that. But anyway, you set this precedence, and then if you can get it over the hump with this precedence of, you have to be the worst, so that's the justification, then the actual threshold becomes less and less as far as being able to reach that actual threshold for justification. So then doing something like that, not only are you, again, infringing on the rights of natural-born American citizens, but then you open up the door for political game, for just absolutely insane things to happen where people who don't, quote-unquote, meet that threshold, rights are being violated and they're being sent out of the country for just about any and everything. It's a slippery slope. The same way that a lot of people like to say, oh, we don't want to touch 2A because once you do that, then you start restricting all of this and you start doing all these other restrictions. It's the same type of deal.
But then, Santana, don't forget, he also quoting Napoleon, and him and his VP is pretty much saying that the only people that can interpret the law is the president and attorney general.
Which is a huge issue.
And that's unconstitutional.
Let me read these off, and just a reminder to the chat, guys, if you are wondering why you can't add anything to the chat, it's because we are in sub only. Keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 200,000 likes, and then we will be able to get out of sub only, but we are also in a sub wave at the moment. So if you are interested, we only need 3 more subscriptions to close out our sub wave. So not only would you be able to chat at the moment, but you would also get access to an amazing discourse, fast pass to join the panel with Late Nights with Santana, and some really cool emotes. So we only need 3 more subscriptions to close out that sub wave if you are interested. Also, guys, W's in the chat for Justin. Justin sent a $5 donation saying Jesse is trying to start something. Listen, Jesse and Justin, you two every single night, you two go back and forth. W's in the chat for Justin for that $5 donation. W's in the chat for Mama Rebel, who sent a $20 donation saying, knowledge is power. Thank you. Thank you for that $20 donation, Mama Rebel. You are freaking awesome. W's in the chat for Margs and Q's for the subscription. W's in the chat for Haley, who sent a $1 donation saying House Bill 1484, the Mississippi bill. This offense of trespasses by any alien, illegal alien under the section is a felony for which is authorized terms of imprisonment is life imprisonment without eligibility of release except by the act of the governor and natural death or such. Debbie's in the chat for all the subscriptions this just went out. I don't know who sent that, but thank you. Hey, Debbie's in the chat for Tech Memphis, who sent out 5 subs. You are awesome. Haley was speaking to the fact that basically there's a law that Mississippi's trying to pass where basically being an undocumented immigrant gets you life in jail, which is insane. Also, last but not least, W's in the chat for Sonya, who sent a $1 donation and said, tied in with his views, and that's a statement. It's the statement that immigrants are quote unquote animals and not humans. Yeah, Donald Trump definitely did say that as well. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sonya. Guys, W's in the chat for everyone for the donations. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. We only have $143 to close out our nightly donation goal. Santana Speaks 24. We can knock that out. Let's get the likes up to 200,000 likes. I want to come back to Malika. Malika hasn't had an opportunity to speak in a while. And I want to come to Caleb.
Here we go. So, I really like analogies. I'm not going to lie to you. So, say somebody was chasing you down the street and trying to get your booty butt, right?
Oh my gosh, Malika, my mom is watching right now. Keep it clean.
It gotta be very drastic because people are fleeing for like real things. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So the only way
she did,
is to go into someone's house and ask for help. If you stay on the porch, you still gonna get got. Like, you have to go in and ask for help. So whether you break in a house or you knock politely, one way or another, you have to get in to save your sanctity. So that's the best way I can say it.
I ain't even gonna hold you, Malika. I didn't even catch the analogy after the first part. I don't even know what we're talking about now. I don't even know where the analogy went after that, Malika.
Because these people are fleeing from like very like disturbing things.
Oh,
like
okay.
They're fleeing from truly disturbing things that you wouldn't want to happen. So, would you stand on somebody's porch knocking and asking to come in, or would you break the door down? I get it. Chef or Team MAGA, would either one of y'all like to try to respond to that?
Well,
yeah, I'm putting like 4 extra locks on my door.
Listen, Team Mags take that one. I'm a little bit lost after the beginning. I'm sorry. I can't
Oh
lie.
my gosh,
All right, I'm gonna try you. I'm gonna start over.
I.
I'm gonna start over. You're running for your life. Like, would you stand there knowing that the people are behind you, knocking on the door, waiting for somebody to open the door, or would you go in, knowing that there's safety in there, that there's people that can help you in there, there's a phone in there that you can call somebody else. Like, I would not stand on nobody's porch. I'm sorry. If
So you're
it's,
saying to break in?
that's what you said that the illegal immigrants are doing.
Well, I
Breaking the law.
got a small simple point right here, if I can. That's
Go
all right.
ahead, Caleb. Go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to say I think her name is Jessie. Those other two pipelines was the Upper Midwest and the Line 5 pipelines. So there's that.
You said Upper Midwest and what?
Line 5 pipelines. And so I guess a simple question that can't nobody seem to answer for me is why can't the people why would they not want to make their own country what they want it to be?
Because it's unsafe.
I'm not
I'm sorry, ask that question.
I'm not trying to sound
Can you ask that
rude.
question?
Why
Caleb, can you ask that question? I didn't hear it all. Can you please ask that question again?
So the people that are flooding to America, that have been flooding to America, for however many years, even way back before Biden, years ago. I'm not just pointing out Trump or Biden. I'm talking about everybody.
Yeah, it's been about 50, 60 years. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Why would they not want to make their own country? One thing that confuses me is they come over here and, they continue to live their lives the way they lived it, just for say in Mexico. Why would they not want to make Mexico what they want it to be in order to provide themselves a good life? Like that's a question that nobody can seem to answer for me, because my thing is, like, if I work a job, if me and you work a job and we both apply for a supervisor position, they're obviously going to hire somebody that's going to be willing to work and it's good with people and talking to people. And if you're not willing to put the effort in,
Can I have this question?
If you weren't gonna take it, I was going to.
Can you tell me the three southern countries that were coming here the last few years?
well, I'm just using Mexico as an example.
No. We're gonna hit a point. Can you tell me the three countries that was coming the last few years?
There's been Haitians.
It was three major countries.
Go ahead and name them, Naquan.
I'm not gonna give them the names, but if you want, you can look it up. And I'm tired of doing research for y'all, but you can look it up. And we destabilized those countries. There was the three southern countries that Harris actually visited and raised close to $5 billion to help build their economy back up after America destroyed their economy pretty much. Then C-19 hit their economy and messed it up even more.
That's still not really answering my question. If America
answered your question, the reason
if America went down there and destroyed so much, then why do they continuously keep flooding to America?
The reason they came here is because we destabilized their economy.
How?
We destabilized their economy.
How?
We did.
How?
Hold on.
War.
Hold on, everybody. Too many people talking at a time. One at a time, please.
I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't mean to talk over nobody, but I'm just confused as how did America...
Colonization, taking away their natural resources for cheap, laboring out their labors out there for dirt cheap to do the work that we was taking from them. I can...
Go ahead.
I got something slightly better, Naquan. I got something slightly. Caleb, if you're willing, there's a book called War is a Racket, written by a man by the name of Smedley D. Butler. He was a Marine from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. He retired in 1934. He wrote this book called War is a Racket. In it, he describes all of the things that the United States was doing, destabilizing all of those countries south of the border, right? The Dole Fruit Company was down there. The phrase Banana Republic comes from that, because we went down there doing stuff in their country or whatever, so that major corporations in the United States could make money off of their stuff, right? So those are the things that we've been doing for 100 years to destabilize those countries. That's what he's talking about. But if you want the specifics, but if you want the specifics, buy that book and it'll give you all the details without having to go through it here.
Oh, that's fine. I look, I'm open-minded. I don't have a problem. If there's I'm all for learning. If there's something I didn't know, I'm going to be open-minded about it.
Well, let me say this, because the one thing that I will say, and then I'm gonna get to Izzy, because I know he had his hand up, and I know he had something that he wanted to add to it. But I will definitely commend you for not only being up here, but being up here as long as you have, without, quote unquote crashing out, but being willing to listen and being receptive. So you definitely, at the very least, have been a vital part. You and Team MAGA. Team MAGA, I'm not gonna lie, you surprised me. I didn't expect this from you. Listen,
Try to be respectful.
It's definitely been there. Okay, yeah, you're good, Chef. Thank you for coming up. But yeah, I will say that I appreciate both of you for actually engaging in this conversation, and I know Izzy has something that he wants to add. I'm gonna come to Izzy. Just want to remind the chat, guys, the reason why we are in sub only is because we need to get the likes to 200,000 likes. As soon as we get to 200,000 likes, I will open the actual chat back up. So if you could please keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 200,000 likes, and we will go ahead and open up the chat. Also, guys, W's in the chat for Jesse. Jesse sent a $5 donation saying the United States is notorious for pillaging resources from other countries and destabilizing them, Caleb. Also, what were those pipelines again? Because I'm not seeing how Biden shut those pipelines down. W's in the chat for Jesse for that $5 donation. Guys, that means we're only $138 from closing out our nightly donation goal. I know we can absolutely do it. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. If 138 people send $1, just $1, we can close that out. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. I do want to say, so what I did find really quick, because Izzy, I want to come to you. Chef, I know you want to say one other thing before you drop. I actually looked it up, and I was looking for the Upper Midwest pipeline, and it's actually called the Eganbridge Line 5 pipeline. So that's what it's actually called, and it wasn't shut down by Joe Biden. Apparently, the pipeline that runs through Wisconsin and Michigan, and it actually transports a ton of natural oil and natural gas. The reason why it's shut down is because there were some reservations that were located near it, and there was a leak. W's in the chat for Vicky for the subscription. There was a leak that polluted the groundwater, and so they have been in legal battles, and so the courts actually deemed that this pipeline had to be shut down. I'll look for the other one, but I wanted to speak to that. Izzy, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so kind of going off of what Hawk was touching into. This is actually one of my absolute favorite stories, mostly because of what Eisenhower ends up doing to the company that was responsible for it. So this goes to Guatemala, and United Fruit Company, they were using Guatemala's resource at the time, which was primarily bananas, to make a huge profit. Now, Guatemala had recently elected in a new president who said, Santana, I can't remember, for late nights, am I allowed to swear or no?
My mom is watching, Izzy.
Okay. For Mama Joe's.
Do you know what the old banana was? Just kind of a side note. Do you know what the banana was back in the day when they were harvesting it?
Enlighten me.
So we used, because the banana plant we had, it was they had a you know how it died. Or no, what's the word I'm going to use? Yeah,
the banana that went extinct that we use for
yeah,
the
yeah.
flavor of like banana, like for banana
Yeah.
Laffy Taffy and banana Runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like pull a yellow marker, banana marker. That's like the original smell, which is the gross Michelle. And then today we have the can't think of the name. The banana. It's a new type of banana we have, which they might have to replace again today. Just a side note, was pretty cool. If you guys didn't know that.
I think he just tried to diffuse you, Izzy, because now I'm thinking about bananas. That's actually a fun
That's all
fact,
he
though.
did. That's all he did.
He did diffuse you.
Unfortunately for him, it
He
did
got
not.
you.
Cavendish.
That was a good one.
If I can, real quick.
Wait, hold on. Let Izzy finish his point real quick, and then we'll come. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Izzy.
So when it came time to when that new president of Guatemala was coming into power, he said, "Let's get these Americans out of here. We don't want them here. We should be in charge of our own resources. There's no reason why a foreign company should be out here making profit off of the fruits of our lands." Well, United Fruit Company did not like that, right? Because that's eating into their profit margin by a considerable amount. So what they did is they went to President Eisenhower and they said, "Hey, this guy's a communist." Well, President Eisenhower, being a product of the Red Scare, the first wave of the Red Scare, said, "No, not in my Christian Minecraft server." And so he sent the CIA to do a little coup d'etat and put someone else in place, which ended up in a dictatorship. By the way, the U.S. has a very bad history of putting in the wrong people in power.
Yes,
I agree.
And so that is what initially destabilized Guatemala back then, and they have spent the decades since then attempting to be able to recover essentially from what happened. And what Dwight Eisenhower did once he found out that United Fruit Company lied to him is he hit them with the Sherman antitrust laws.
Oh, look, I've enjoyed it. I hope y'all have a.
By the way, that company is now called Chiquita Banana.
absolutely. Izzy, you making me mad. You know more than I do.
Caleb, it sounded like you were getting ready to say that you're taking off. Did you want the floor for a moment? And
I just gonna say I appreciate the good conversation. I hope everybody, the folks that I obviously aggravated in the comments. I apologize if I offended you, but I just sticking to what I believe, just like y'all are. So,
but the difference is, Caleb, real quick. One, check out that book I told you, but do some research. It's not just what we think. We research the data so we can back up the things that we're telling you. So just go do some research and see if you find the same stuff that we did.
Well, I'll do that. I appreciate you.
Also, wait, Caleb. Before you go, Jesse sent one more message via Cash App. W's in the chat for Jesse. Jesse sent a $5 donation saying, tell him that the Line 5 pipeline was shut down by Michigan Governor Whitmore in 2021. Jesse, yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. It was actually shut down for specific reasons. You're absolutely right about that. W's in the chat for Jesse for that $5 donation, guys. That means we're only $133 from closing out our nightly donation. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio.
That's the reason I came up here too, bro. Can I touch on this real quick? The Keystone Pipeline.
Caleb, do you have one more minute for Naquan to address that? And again, I want to get to Chef because Chef has to drop as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
I came in when the Keystone Pipeline was talked about. The Keystone Pipeline permit was in since 1970. And none of it was built until about, I want to say maybe 2014, and it was only about 10% of it. So the permits was there for a very long time before any kind of work was done.
Okay, well, I appreciate y'all. God bless each and every one of you. I've enjoyed the conversation, but I got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to work.
All right.
Well, thank you for coming up. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Chef, I know you were saying that you had to go as well, but you wanted to make another point, so I want to give you the floor.
Yeah, I want to say thank y'all for having me on the panel tonight. It's been fun.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to since we're talking about undocumented immigration, it kind of goes back to where the whole panel started about was the whole gold card conversation, and it seems like we don't want undocumented immigrants here because they get here illegally, but it seems like we're okay with people paying $5 million to get citizenship fast tracked. Doesn't that seem like kind of a cheat to the system? As well as it also seems like that just kind of more pads the whole, a bunch of the 1% getting more and more tax cuts that are allowed through the United States. It kind of seems like almost like a tax loophole to an extent.
Wait, Rolo, if you want to come back up, I was hoping that you were actually about to be here for this part of the conversation. So, Rolo, if you want to request back up, you can definitely come back up. I know, yeah, I don't know if you had meant to join, but I would love. Well, one, I was saying if you wanted to join anyway because of what you were adding in the chat, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the gold card proposal. Anyway, yeah, no, Chef, listen, you're absolutely right, and it's super interesting to me overall that there's such a double standard when it comes to immigration, and then even more so, like the thing that really I guess kind of rubbed me the wrong way is when they made the statement about like, well, do we think that Russian oligarchs would actually purchase the gold card and would they be welcome? And of course, Donald Trump, he was like, yes, they would, and I know some really good Russian oligarchs that I'm sure would love it, and like that's a whole thing. But Chef, did you want to say anything else about that? And I want to go. I'm sorry, guys, I gotta hear what Rolo thinks about that as well.
No, you're saying the same thing I'm thinking too. Like, as soon as he said, yeah, I know a bunch of Russian oligarchs, I'm like, isn't that kind of a little bit weird? I can't think of any other president that's ever said out their mouth, oh, I know plenty of Russians that are I'm really cool with. That just seems like a kind of like a weird statement to put together. It's almost like saying, oh yeah, I'm best friends with North Koreans too. It's kind of like, it's a weird statement to say. And I'm sure if he said, oh, I know a bunch of Chinese oligarchs, everyone would have looked at him weird. But since it was Russians, it kind of gets a little divide to it.
Yeah. W's in the chat for Vicky. Vicky sent a $33 donation saying now we're only $100 away. You're absolutely right, Vicky. Thank you so much for that donation. Guys, we're only $100 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. There's 260 of us here. We can definitely close that out. All we need is 100 people to send $1. It's gone. Also, guys, let's get to 200,000 likes. We're still in sub only. Once we get to 200,000 likes, we will bring the chat back. So if you're in the chat and you can't chat, either grab a subscription or tap the screen. We're so close. Rolo, what's up with this gold card?
Dude, I don't know.
Bro.
if I posted a video about it, but
I hadn't seen it yet. You know what? I haven't been really on TikTok all day, and so you were the first person I thought about when I'm sorry. I'm gonna go check it out. Anyway, go ahead.
No, so I mean, arguably, it's against the law. 18 USC subsection 1422. Right? Basically, if you solicit, if you demand, there's a couple things there. Basically, additional fees for any type of naturalization or citizenship or alien registration. Things, it is a crime, a felony. It could be up to 5 years in prison and fines, right, or both. So him saying that he is selling gold cards, I think it falls within that code of him soliciting people to come over and paying some fees that are not part of the code, right, part of the immigration laws, and he's just kind of like putting it out there. Now, they did allude to the SB5s, which is the...
I was just about to go there. Yep. Can you tell the chat what that is? And because they tried to say that like it's a connection between those. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so the SB5s, EB5s are basically visas for investors. They invest a certain amount of money. I think it's like about close to $1 million. You have to invest. You have to like provide a business plan. You have to employ a certain amount of like people in the U.S. and everything, and then you're able to come on over on a visa But that is not really a green card. I think you can turn into it eventually. It could be like, I think it's a dual intent visa. But what
It'd be a route
he,
to the visa.
yeah, what he explained here is pretty much they'll give you like a gold card, like a straight green card or gold card with like extra perks, and you just like pay the $5 million. I don't know if they're trying to make it similar to the EB5s. That wasn't clear on what I've heard so far. But in what I'm seeing, he's basically soliciting people to come on over in violation of 18 USC 1422. So I don't know.
May I add something in real quick?
Absolutely.
So by Trump putting out that he will give residency essentially, or residency and or citizenship to any person who pays that amount. This is also unconstitutional because it violates Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4 of the Constitution, which states that Congress shall have the power to establish a uniform rule of naturalization. So the executive branch does not have the authority per the Constitution to be able to do such a thing.
Well, one thing that Trump did do a couple of, I was like a week ago or something.
About a week ago.
Yeah, he said that only him and the AG had pretty much the power to dictate what laws are within the executive powers, which would be like the, immigration is under the executive power under, the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and then under the, it goes under the executive branch.
Right, and
so
I know
he
him
basically gave himself that power to dictate and decide on how the laws work. So, I mean, arguably, if that executive order is in place, he could technically, if that is good law, say what it means to come on over on $5 million and purchase your gold card here. Arguably.
Yeah. So I got a question on the back end, if you don't mind. The question is, can you explain the difference between a golden visa and the gold card?
I don't know what it is. I mean, he I think just pulled it out of his like bunghole.
It might have just been him saying, like, he thought of something like while he was eating chicken nuggets or something. He's like, this sounds like a good idea.
He pulled it out of his bunghole. There's no such thing as a gold card. There's a green card, but he says, yeah, it's like a green card, but you get extra perks, so we're gonna call it the gold card. Yeah, I like that gold card. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whoever the president talks to last usually influences them the most.
I can agree with that.
Eating your microphone, I could barely hear that.
Yeah, it was really muffled, but I think there's something to that point.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. So whoever the president talks to last is usually the one person that influences the most.
So if you had to speculate then, just speculation, who do you think could have influenced that thought process?
I think it's the unofficial Doge actor.
What do you think about that unofficial actor? That's an interesting statement.
Well, I mean, look, I don't know the exact, the law around it. Because Doge it's treated like a cabinet, but it has to go through Congress to get approved.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's any way around it. You can't send an executive order or anything like that. You look at USA 8, that was by Kennedy, but then Congress later approved it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's just I forget the terminology for. He's basically he's not getting paid, and then we had
he is apparently he's getting like $8 million a day. You didn't know about that?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, $8 million a day.
Yes. That's almost $3 billion a year, by the way.
Don't forget his Defense Department contracts too. That's the reason they never made it to the Pentagon yet, which, seemingly enough, did not pass their last 7 audits, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah, how many subsidies does SpaceX get?
Wait, are we
Well,
about to
those
dive
were
into
all
the
in place
Pentagon?
before.
Well, arguably, supposedly, I'm going to try and be nice. Several of the inspectors general that got let go were actually investigating this Doge person you're speaking of, or whatever.
Multiple companies.
Yeah, at least 3 of them. I think it was 3 or 4 of them.
It was
And
it was 5 of them Hawk, plus the FAA director, and USAID was also investigating.
right, because the FAA has sued him for like $700,000 or some crap or whatever for some SpaceX accident he had or whatever, because he wasn't following the rules. So he was under investigation by 3 or 4 different agents. Well, Deshaun says it was 5, but all of a sudden, all of those inspector generals are gone. So those investigations are gone.
So just for anyone that is wondering, SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, X, and Elon himself specifically, 5 entities were being investigated by different inspector generals ranging from transportation, interior, justice, agriculture, National Labor Relations Board, Equal Opportunity Commissions, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Securities and Exchange Commission, Defense, Federal Election Committee, and Office of Government Ethics. So yeah, that was a lot. Also, guys, W's in the chat for Justin, who sent a $5 donation saying Trump is trying to create a premium membership into the United States. You're absolutely right. W's in the chat for Jesse for that. Guys, we're only $95 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. I know that we can absolutely do that. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted, anything's appreciated. We're almost at 20,000 likes. Keep tapping the screen, get to 20,000 likes, and we will open the chat back up. Last but not least, one other thing, and I just kind of want to mention this, and I don't know if everyone knows, we're talking about like the gold card. Other countries do offer a golden visa for specifics. I know like Spain, they're getting ready to get rid of their golden visa. But if you actually purchase a home that is I think it's above like $500,000 or whatever, then you get a golden visa which not only gives you access to becoming a citizen, but you get immediate access to like their healthcare system, and you can sponsor a family member and all of this other stuff. So there are countries that offer golden visas, and so I'm assuming that he was kind of close to that, but a little bit off. Also, last but not least, W's in the chat for Izzy for the $2 donation, saying if it's premium citizenship, then that means no ads, no ads in the country. W's in the chat for Izzy. I will open up the panel for anyone that wanted to actually add anything. I know I said a lot.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. You guys were talking about the interventionism in Guatemala.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, interestingly enough, my father was actually a cadet for the military school called Escuela Politécnica. When the United Fruit Company and the CIA sent a mercenary army to basically take over Guatemala, they were stationed in a hospital called the Roosevelt Hospital. And they came in August 1st. In August 2nd, pretty much all of the high commands of the army and all of the armed forces in Guatemala had pretty much sold out. But the cadets, they arrested their commanding officers, and then they took up whatever weapons they had in their school that they used for practice, and they went and confronted this invading army, and that was in August 2nd, 1954. There was about 115 cadets and 15 soldiers that were on duty, and they all went and marched down to where the invading army, the Liberation Army is what they called it, were stationed, and they fought since the morning. And they had one thing, that they would leave the last bullet for themselves should they be captured, because there was already a shift. They had already taken over the government. They had already Outer Banks had already been kicked out, and they just went over there and with pretty much an unaliving mission to try to save whatever was left of the Guatemalan sovereignty and pride. And they actually defeated the invading army with the 115 cadets and 15 soldiers. 3 of them died in combat, and the rest, even though they defeated the invading army, they were deemed high treason. And when they went back to the school, they were going to be sent to the wall to be unalived. And my father had to basically flee and be exiled to Mexico and then to Honduras. And he was a fugitive. He was wanted dead or alive for like 20-something years.
Wow.
Until in 1986, they actually deemed all of the cadets, that fought the army, as national heroes. So they were given the La Orden Más Alta del Quetzal, that's what it's called. So they were given hero status and stuff. So that's just a little bit of history of, my father and why we came here to the United States, because of American interventionism. And that led to like the 30-year war, which was a civil war between the army and las guerrillas, the guerrilla warfare, which basically devastated the whole country for a long time, and we're still trying to recover at this point. So, and then people ask why people come to the U.S., why there's a lot of influx, why there's poverty in our countries, and it's pretty much because of American interventionism.
And that's how we got on the subject in the first place, Rolo. You're 100% on point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyways, interesting story. That's my dad. He's 90, he's going to be 91, 92 now.
Well, good for him.
I would love to have a conversation with him.
Absolutely. Also, I will say this is a big reason why I love late nights, is because I learned so much that I didn't think I was, not that I didn't think I was going to learn, but I didn't know coming into it that I would learn.
Yeah. No, listen, I appreciate the fact that, my mom always told me life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And on late nights, you never know. Tell me I'm wrong, though. Like, you never know what's going to end up happening on late nights. Like, you have no idea.
That's crazy, bro, because I just watched that last night.
I made Hannah watch that because, she's younger, so I made her watch it, and she absolutely, by the end of the movie, she was like, I hate Jenny. Anyway, we were getting off topic. She was so pissed off about Jenny. She absolutely could not stand Jenny. Let's do this, guys. We're only 4,000 away from opening the comments back up. So keep tapping. As soon as we get to 20,000 likes, we will open the comments back up. Also, W's in the chat for Lynetta, who sent a $10 donation for the valuable information. Lynetta, thank you so much for that $10 donation towards our nightly goal. You are absolutely far too kind. And last but not least, guys, we only have $83 to close out our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. Let's do this. Let's go to TikTok, Dad. How are you this evening, my friend? It's been a while.
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I've been by a couple times, but
I know
it's had a full
panel, it's always by the time that I get ready to get to you, you're already gone, and that's why I was like, I'm gonna hurry up and get you in here.
It's all good. It's good to listen and kind of learn from others. Not much, man. I wanted to come up. I see you've got some topics listed. A lot going on in the country nowadays.
Yeah, floor is yours. What do you want to take?
Look, man. I pulled up some information as you all were talking about the gold card that was announced.
Yeah.
Look, there's 2 different programs. I think you all know about the gold card, which is $5 million that require investment in U.S. projects.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also been the EB-5 program that was $1.8 million. But here are the risks and the criticisms, and I find it interesting. Hardworking individuals who fight for a path to citizenship year after year are overlooked through these different programs because not everyone has $5 million. But I'm interested to see who are these people that are going to be investing $5 million in these different projects and how money laundering and fraud is going to be part of that systematic issue that we're going to encounter, because there are 10 countries that offer these programs. But when you think about the amount of money laundering that people engage in today in our country, or the amount of undue influence that will have on certain officials, right? And security risks. How will we vet these applicants, right? Because $5 million, when you think of 1% of the entire globe, is richer than 99%. Where are we getting these folks from? And so the vetting process will be interesting if this is actually, gets approved. So I'm on standby for that right now.
You know what's interesting, and I didn't think about it until you said it, and I'll just say, hey, welcome back, chat. Welcome back. Good job getting up to 200,000 likes. Welcome back, chat. Free the chat. You know what's interesting? Donald Trump just signed an executive order not too long ago, basically rolling back the restrictions on bribes that government officials can take out of the country. What's the Hawk? Do you know what I'm talking about? What's the name of the law that was?
I don't know the name of it, but I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, basically saying that bribes are okay.
Yeah. So,
It
literally just clicked in my head when you said that just now. Like, it's. I feel like it's connected.
Well, but wait, let me make TikTok Dad's story worse, right? He said he wanted 1 million of them.
TikTok Dad, you're a sub now. I don't know if you saw that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. These $5 million gold cards or whatever, he wants as many as 1 million of them. So
Yeah.
how much money is that? And again, like TikTok Dad said, what kind of influence is that going to put now? I mean, we already have issues with oligarchs and stuff now, whatever. So we're just importing oligarchs at this point.
Yeah. I'm gonna find that law because it's all connected and it makes too much sense.
It's 5 trillion, if I'm not mistaken, on the money.
Yeah, so it's a little over 5 trillion. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I know the department you're talking about, Santana, because that's the same day he did the Consumers Affair thing.
Mhm.
I just cannot remember the department for nothing right now.
I'll look it up. Give me a second.
I think if it rings a bell to me, like if you, like for example, when the president goes overseas and like if the Saudi prince or the king gives him a gift, he can't take that back. I don't know if that has to do with anything. The law where they can't accept gifts now that.
But it wasn't just for the president.
Yeah.
It was for government officials.
Right.
Here it is. It's
Right.
the Foreign Corruption
Anti-Corruption
Practice Act, FCPA.
Yep.
And that relates to, it's a law that enacted in 1977, prohibited companies that operate in the United States from bribing foreign officials. So it's companies that can bribe foreign officials. Over time, it has become a guiding force on how American businesses operate overseas. So it's supposed to govern companies and businesses. But yeah, I think it's all connected. Maybe I'm reaching, but like I think there's something there.
The FCPA is different because I recall, because I worked in financial services for 29 years, and we had to continuously do education on this as a result of conflict of interest. Mm-hmm. And so this is where this comes in. Now, could there be conflict of interest with the $5 million gold card? Yes, there could be a conflict of interest, especially if you're investing in U.S. projects, and God knows what kind of projects they'll be investing in. And again, the vetting process, the money laundering, is that going to be amplified based on the so-called gold card? So what's interesting is going to be the budget that extends the tax cuts from 2017. I looked at that today, and I was talking to someone about that today. I'm not sure how much you guys have covered that. So I don't want to be too redundant.
Listen, no, you're good. You can go into it. Like we spent last week, that was the topic. We literally dug into the proposed budget, and now it's become more real as far as them passing it through and the actual tax cuts that they put with the budget and all this. But again, the floor is yours, and then I want to give Haley some time to speak after that. So wherever direction you want to take it.
I'll just touch on it just for a bit. Initially, the tax cuts were to do what? They were to encourage U.S. companies to stay within the U.S., move their proceeds here, invest here, It was when you look at what corporate taxes were cut to, I believe it was down to 21% in 2017. Plus, in addition to that, cascade or disseminate some of that income to your employees. None of that happened. That dissemination, like a drop in the bucket. So why provide greater opportunity for corporations that make, like I said, I worked in the financial services industry, and most banks, average revenue per net income per year is about 20 billion, right? You could look it up, 20 billion. And the decimation of income isn't equal. There's a huge disproportionate amount of income. So if you're going to give them breaks, then there needs to be caveats as to how they make adjustments in terms of income, because we're roughly making the same amount of money, but our cost of goods continue to go up. Yes, inflation's down relatively speaking, but across the board, up to a month ago, the cost of groceries or goods was 21% higher for groceries to buy within the home, and up to 28% average across the country if you were to go buy out, right? And so I find it interesting that that's one proposal: extend the tax cuts. And then finally, the impact on Medicaid over a 10-year period, and Social Security. So I'm interested in seeing how that's going to unfold. I know that there was, I think, 0 Democrats voted and about 217 Republicans voted, and that's where I'll land on that.
Yeah, no, it was super interesting how they told the Democrats that they weren't going to bring it to the floor to vote on it anymore, and then they, tried to actually slip one past them, but it was a 217 to 215 vote in order to get it passed, which is,
And last thing, actually, you got 2 people in the chat. I'm Palestinian, right? And I've got 2 Palestinians who could be trolling me and calling me a Zayo. عيب عليك. Let me tell them something in Arabic. عيب عليكم. مش شايفيني بحكي مع الزلمة؟ احترموا حالكم. احترموا حالكم. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Haley, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
We can. What would you like to add?
I'm glad he brought up the whole Palestinian thing, because it's mind blowing to hear MAGA speak on quote unquote illegal immigration, but their president has no issue with going into other places illegally. Like, it's just insane. He refuses to admit that Putin was in the wrong. He won't call him a dictator. And I wanted to bring up again, because for some reason Team MAGA just doesn't understand that it has nothing to do with them being criminals. It literally says in the bill that I quoted that the act of simply trespassing means that they will be detained for the rest of their lives. I don't know why you're not understanding
Which
that
bill
part,
what are you talking about?
The Mississippi bill that I
the
sent.
Mississippi 1481.
I think it was 1484.
1484. Haley is the person that sent the donation. Team MAGA speaking to that specifically about the Mississippi trying to pass a law where undocumented immigrants can get put in jail for life if they're caught.
Okay, that'd be a state law, though.
Yeah, but that's also based on what Trump put Santana, that letter that you read last week. It's based on that. That's what he put in that letter. He's basically saying just the fact that they crossed the border makes them criminals and they can be put away forever.
And there is a much larger issue with that, right? And that is within the 13th Amendment. It allows for indentured servitude as a punishment for a crime. Essentially, what this is you are. I'm trying to find the word here. You are subjecting someone to a lifetime of modern day slavery simply for crossing a border.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
Also, I just want to point out, let's not act like Trump genuinely takes borders seriously, because when he's been asked about Canada, he was just like, it's not real. It's just a little line. It's not like anything special. Like, he doesn't actually care.
Can I also add that these bills are criminalizing a civil offense under federal law.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because being in the U.S. unlawfully, which is called unlawful presence, it's not a criminal offense at all. The only criminal offense would be under 8 U.S.C. 1325, which is crossing the border unlawfully, which would be a misdemeanor, likely a Class C misdemeanor, because it's only punishable by up to 6 months and or $250 fine. Right. So if they're trying to put people in prison for life for a misdemeanor if you cross the border unlawfully, or trying to put people in prison for life for simply doing a civil violation, kind of like a parking ticket, right? Parking ticket is a civil violation. So if you're going to go put in jail for life for a parking ticket, it's akin to like unlawful presence in the U.S. because it's not punishable by any criminal code, either federal or state in the U.S. So they're trying to really punish people, and I think it's almost like violative of the Eighth Amendment, right? And cruel and unusual punishment for being here on a civil violation. It's weird.
Well, I don't know why people are looking into it because it'll never pass, or it's Mississippi, and we're talking
already
about
passed. That bill already passed.
There's a lot of places that have already passed. Did the Mississippi law already pass?
Yes, I'm not. Hold on. Let me make sure I read the bottom because I'm pretty sure it said when it will enact.
Also,
I know that there was one in Kansas that passed that makes it a felony to be in Kansas as an unlawful person.
Rollo, can you repeat the actual law number again? Rollo, sorry.
Which one?
I think it was the last one that you TikTok Dad. You said what you were.
USC 1325, the crossing the border unlawfully.
I think that's what he was looking for. Yes.
Yeah, AUC 1325. It's crossing the border, basically in between ports of entry. That is a misdemeanor, right? Punishable by up to 6 months and or a $250 fine.
Got it.
So they want to imprison people for life for a misdemeanor, or if it's just unlawful presence that they're trying to punish, they're trying to imprison people for life for a civil violation.
Well, we have the supremacy clause, so it's never gonna.
Before y'all continue,
hold on one second, guys, because I know we're passing around, and I wanted Team Maga to be able to make sure that he had a chance to respond as well. So, Team Maga, what were you saying? And then Haley, finish your point, and then we'll go to Naquan.
No, I wanted you to drop me, bro. I was just about to tell you it's been a pleasure. I gotta drop. My phone is mad low right now, and I'm not in the crib.
Okay, I appreciate you.
All right, it's always love, bro.
Absolutely.
Team Maga was bringing up the supremacy clause, right?
Yeah. So federal law takes precedent over the state law. So, for example, when Biden, when they had the border crossings where the Texas Border Patrol put the wires or what they are on the border, and the federal government told them to remove it. Well, they had to comply because the federal government, under the supremacy clause, the federal government has the final say over any state matter. So, in regards to this one, Mississippi, I don't even think twice about it. It's not going to go through, and it's obviously a violation of the federal laws.
But team, the difference is when that happened, the Biden administration took Texas to court, and the Supreme Court made them comply. Do you think Trump is going to take them to court for doing this?
Yeah, that was exactly my point.
Well, it's going to
take a lawsuit.
It's going to be like birthright. Yeah, someone's going to file a lawsuit, and it's going to go pretty quickly, I think. Because it's obviously a violation.
But the federal government has to enforce the supremacy clause in this case. We're seeing it in Florida. We're seeing it in Texas. Idaho's trying to pass a similar law. Tennessee. So they're already enforcing these laws that are in violation of the supremacy clause. But the Trump administration is not doing anything, and I don't think they will.
Did it pass? I don't see if it's actually passed.
In Texas and Florida, they pass.
No, we're talking about the Mississippi. I don't know what the Texas, Florida one are.
I believe Haley's still looking up whether or not it passed, but also
I know at the end of it, it said that it would go in act in July, but yeah.
I know that a Kansas law is going to be enacted in July 1st, which it does makes it a felony to be in the state unlawfully, and also to like move, transport, aid, live with, like all these things, undocumented people. So it would extend felonies to people who aid undocumented people in any way.
So the Mississippi House bill died in committee on February 4th.
Okay, I was talking about. That's what I was saying. I said I know that at the end it said that it would be an act in July, but it didn't say if it died or not.
Yeah,
Unalive.
I just looked it up.
Unalive.
Unalive. Yeah.
Yep. Hey guys, keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and try to. I know we can get it up to 250,000 likes before the end of the live. Tap, tap, tap. Let's go ahead and get the likes up. Do all the wonderful things. Also, guys, we have $83. $83 left in our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. I know we can knock that out as well. I want to start going around the panel and make sure that we have an opportunity to let everyone else speak. I know we're speaking on this topic specifically. Izzy, is there anything that you want to add to this point?
Sorry, I thought that I had unmuted. Not to this specific point.
Okay. TikTok Bat, anything that you want to add to this point?
Not on this one. Just a couple comments on economic tightening and loosening, and then I'll drop. So you give space to someone else if you want, whenever you're ready, though.
No, you're good. You're good. All right. So then I'll say Rolo, Haley, Team MAGA, Hawk. Anything else that you guys want to talk about on this point before we kind of move around the topic?
Yeah, I was going to add one thing. When they mentioned that, the first violation is a civil, which it is a civil violation, and it's not a criminal. You won't go to jail for it for the first time offense. But that, essentially, in addition to overstaying your visa, that means individuals who are in the country illegally, so they will face civil penalties, which still means deportation or removal. It's just not regarded as a criminal offense. So you still will get removed, but it's not criminal.
Are you talking about the registry? But I don't think everyone has to register, or what?
No. I'm saying the two instances where if you cross the border illegally, the first time offense, and if you overstayed your visa first time, you're right. It's a civil violation. It's not a criminal one, so you won't go to jail. But you're still going to be, facing deportation right after. You're not going to stay in the country once they catch you.
Unless you have a removal defense, right? There's a lot.
No, it is. It is a removal.
No, I'm saying that you're correct unless you have a removal defense, right? So if you have other forms of relief that would prevent you from the government deporting you.
So what would that be?
You can be like a 42B, a cancellation of removal, U visas, VAWAs, marriage, adjustment of status, So
okay, so we have marriage, but if they find you in violation, they're not going to give you asylum after. I can tell you that.
No, they can. Yeah,
they're not going to though. They're not. I mean, you can, but
it's not a matter whether they give you or not. You still have to go through the adjudicative process.
But
it is
right,
an offense against deportation.
So, but they have to remain in Mexico, so they'll send you across the border.
No, because when you claim asylum, you wait here for your asylum.
No, that's not how it works anymore.
No, yeah, it is.
That's how it worked under Biden, but that's not how it works now.
No.
If you get caught,
you're probably talking about expedited removals.
No. They're gonna. I mean, despite the fact that
they're trying to implement the MPP, right? The migrant protocol.
Yeah, it's already implemented.
Migrant protection protocol.
Yeah, it's already implemented. It's executive orders.
Yeah, but it's not gonna fly for very long.
Yeah, well, let me tell you about something else. So they're also going to go after the asylum laws too.
But those are people that are barely crossing the border. But for people who have been here for more than 2 years, they're not going to take you out while you claim your asylum because you have the right.
Yeah, they will. Yes, they will.
It remains to be seen. I don't. That's not what they're doing.
So is your point that you're speculating that they will, or you like what makes you confident in that statement?
Wait, who are you talking? Who's this to?
You?
Team MAGA.
Oh.
You were adamant that they will.
In regards to they will not give you asylum?
No, you said that Rolo said that they won't take you out, and you said yeah they will. And I'm just asking, like, why are you so adamant on that point, and what makes you so confident in that?
Because I have firsthand knowledge. I don't really want to speak too much, but I have firsthand knowledge that they will. I mean, they're not. There's no gray area with these guys.
I mean, there is, like, if you qualify for, let's say, a 42B cancellation of removal, they can't take you out of the country and then make you wait outside, right?
Well, why would they give that to you after you've been you're firing civilly? You already got your you've been found guilty of the first violation. Why would they give you asylum?
Guilty. It's just you're just amiable for deportation. But if you have a removal defense, they can't take you out of the country if you qualify for, let's say, 42B cancellation of removal, right? They have to let you in, and they have to leave you in the country while your case gets adjudicated. And that happens with a lot of things. They're trying to make it so that they can just remove you, but
they're going to try to remove you as fast as they can once they catch you.
I know they're trying to do that, and it's against due process, right?
Right.
But let's say 42B cancellation of removal. If you've been in the country for 10 years or more, you're a person of good moral character. You're not statutorily disqualified because of certain crimes, and the person who, like a qualifying relative, will suffer unusual hardship. That's called a 42B cancellation of removal. They can't take you out while they adjudicate this thing. They have to leave you in the country, because the whole purpose is that a qualifying relative will suffer extreme and unusual hardship if you are removed. So it kind of goes against the whole premise of a 42B cancellation. Same thing with a BAWA.
I can tell you they're not following it. So.
Yeah, well, that's the issue, right? The Trump administration is doing everything to violate people's due process rights and trying to remove as many brown people as fast as possible before us immigration attorneys have the ability to react. I mean, that's exactly what you're saying. You're saying that they're not following these protocols that they should be following, but it's all in violation.
It's not just for brown people; it's for anyone.
Dude, it's like for 90% brown people, and you just have to call it for what it is.
For anyone that comes around.
No,
you're just making
it is definitely intended to remove as many brown people as possible from the country.
Can I just say, I just think we just need to be honest. Let's be for real. They've literally been targeting Puerto Ricans, Native Americans. They've been targeting people for speaking Spanish. Let's please be for real that they are targeting brown people.
And they've also targeted United States veterans who just are brown.
Absolutely.
Coming up here and saying, "Oh, it's not for brown people," come on, you have to call it for what it is.
So
you have to also realize that the complexity of racism in their country is now more sophisticated. It used to be that they would pass a law called the Chinese Exclusionary Act, right?
Yeah, 100 years ago.
They have to mask it so much that it's not discriminatory on its face, but it can only be discriminatory on its effect. And they have to make it so eloquently and mask it so well that the intent and the purpose of these laws is a discriminatory effect, right? And that's what we're dealing with right now. The sophistication of white supremacy and the sophistication of racism in this country.
Let me ask you like an overall question. Do you think there's systematic racism in the United States today? And if there is, what law?
There's systemic and systematic.
Okay, systematic does not. Hold on. Systematic does not have to be laws, right? It's actually built into all of the systems within the country. There's a major bank in this country that just got sued and lost, by the way, about 2 years ago for redlining. Redlining has been illegal for 50, 60 years, but banks are still doing it. That's systemic racism.
Yep.
Racism is built into all of the systems that we deal with on a regular basis. You don't see it because it does not affect you, right?
Law.
But people in all of
Law.
those marginalized groups see it and feel it every day.
Yep. Hold on, guys, because I know we're really getting into this, but I know that we have another topic that we want to hit, and we're kind of I know you guys started it too late. Let me just read this off, guys. W's in the chat for Katie. Katie sent a $3 donation saying, "Keep fighting the good fight, Santana." Thank you so much for that $3 donation, Katie. You are absolutely far too kind, guys. That means we only have $80 left to close out our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. I know that we had a couple other things that we want to talk about. We only got a few minutes left until it's officially t-shirt time. And I would love to keep having this conversation, but I did want to actually make sure that we hit those last couple of topics. So TikTok Dad, I want to come to you, and then Izzy, I want to come to you as well. So TikTok Dad, the floor is yours.
All right, cool. So did you want me to just address what I said, or you
Yes.
have something particular?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And so you have up there. First, let me address the DEI hires. You know, when we take into consideration DEI, people think hiring, displacing, but the intention of implementing DEI across all corporations.
Wait.
Sorry.
I don't think you got that one. That's a little facetious. The DEI
I
hires.
know.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, go ahead. You got it. You got it.
So I got you. I got you. But people misinterpret. This is for anyone that does not believe that there's purpose behind DEI who are listening.
Mm-hmm.
I led many affinity groups in corporate America across the footprint. It wasn't just about hiring. It was about understanding our unique differences. And people automatically default to, it's about the hiring practices. It's not just that. You have to understand the people that you work with. It builds culture, it builds retention. It allows you to bridge the gaps that have been established within our country for decades. And so I totally understand why you had that up there. The second thing I want to say is, in terms of economic tightening, I think.
Wait. No, because you didn't fully address it. No, the DEI hires is talking about Trump's DEI hires.
Oh God!
Trump has put so many DEI Pete, head tech. I heard Polly talking about it earlier about like the massive.
That point then. Yeah, I totally missed that.
No. Donald Trump and the Trump administration.
On their own definition, right?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You get it, Hawk. Like there are so many quote unquote DEI hires that are being placed into this administration. It is mind blowing. There's so many unqualified people.
Yeah, it's hypocritical. I mean, look. Since you've addressed it, I won't belabor the concern here. You're right. I totally missed it then. So
real quick, TikTok, before you go on, hold on, real quick
go ahead,
before
Hawk.
you go on, if I could,
please.
And this is just for me and I talked to Santana about this the other day. Can we get in the habit of saying
DEIA? Yeah. I need to
and
update
include
that.
everybody because
I hadn't heard that one until you told me about it, Hawk.
What is it? Yeah, Hawk.
Yeah,
what's
can
the
you?
A again?
Yeah, share it with the
accessibility.
people.
It's also accessibility.
Got it.
It's also for people who have those issues, right? So it's every marginalized group. That's the whole thing.
It's diverse abilities, folks with diverse abilities.
Exactly. We need to be able to accommodate everyone, including those people. So
you know what's funny, Hawk? After you said that, and I actually, when I looked it up, I found way more information than I did when I was just looking up DEI. Like way more information.
And that's the point, and that's the part that people aren't getting. So a whole bunch of people, if they really get away with doing away with DEIA or whatever, a lot of people are going to suffer in a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've got 10 different groups that address DEI. When you think affinity groups or employee resource network groups, they're intended to focus on these marginalized groups so they can allow for succession planning, create greater opportunity, understand our unique differences, and that was one of the purposes behind it. Last thing I would say, I don't want to occupy too much time, Santana. The Fed was a standstill on reducing rates this past month or so, and so we still continue to see a reduction in inflation. Cost of goods, though, continue to be up. So there isn't a flip of the switch. So everyone that's listening, be cognizant of how we're moving. Even though there's going to be tax cuts, I don't see a decline in cost of goods. I think things are normalizing at this price. If you all remember, if you're old as I am, when I was in high school and going to college in the early 90s, I was paying 85 cents a gallon for gas. And as things continue to go up, the gas companies, the gas companies say, hey, they can pay these prices. So they normalize them and they continue to go up. So be cognizant of that, especially when we have 37% of our Americans have less than $400 in their accounts at the end of the year. So be cognizant of how we're moving along this path with this new budget that's proposed and how it's going to impact society as a whole.
It's going to normalize those things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and so make sure you're putting money away. Make sure you're leveraging every opportunity you can to invest in however you can. And Hawk, for you, 4 banks were sued for redlining across the board from 2017 on.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Appreciate that update.
Yeah, racism is institutionalized. It's not something that's disappeared or will disappear unless it's addressed head on. So I appreciate the time, Santana, as always.
Absolutely.
God,
Thank you.
God bless, man, and I'll drop at this point.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Thanks, TikTok. You gave me flashbacks, by the way. Good job.
Hey, real quick, YouTube, if you're on YouTube watching, can you guys do me a favor? Like the stream. Please like the stream. Do all that as well. Izzy, you had something specific that you wanted to speak to.
I did, and this is to the DUI hire.
DEIA?
No, DUI.
Oh, okay.
Pete
Hegseth? Yeah.
Yeah. So it has to do with his firing of the Judge Advocate General of each of the branches, the Marine, not the Marine Corps, the Naval, the Air Force, and the Army Judge Advocate General. And his purpose behind it was because he didn't want them to pose any roadblocks to orders that are given by a commander-in-chief. We know this to mean Trump specifically. That is literally what they are there for, right? And this is from an inside source that I cannot disclose. Not publicly, at least. Santana, I can get with you offline about this one. This person was asked by Lieutenant General Berger, who was the Army's Judge Advocate General, what does the future look like? And the person stated to him, every judge advocate within the United States Army is going to hold to the exact same value, which is, if it is unconstitutional and it is unlawful, then it will not be done. The president will be stopped by every one of the judge advocates that is within the branch. And this goes specifically to the Posse Comitatus, which is the law stating that the United States military cannot be used as a police force against the citizens of the nation.
Okay.
Izzy, can I add to what you just said real quick? I'm sorry, Santana.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So and again, this is just common sense thinking. So this is just my viewpoint, but I'm agreeing with what Izzy just said, because not only did he fire the 3 judge advocates general, but he also fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. That in and of itself isn't a big deal, except it is because he was only the 2nd black chairman of the Joint Chiefs in history. However, he's nominating someone to replace him who is a retired 3-star general that no one's ever heard of.
Dan
to my
Raising
knowledge,
Cane.
and Izzy, please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Raising Cane. What a name, right? But that's never happened before. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs was always a sitting chief of one of the branches, right? So it was either the CNO, the commandant, or the Air Force chief or Army chief. It was always a sitting 4-star general who was the chief of their branch, was the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And now he's reaching back, getting a retired general that nobody's ever heard of to bring him up. So the consensus is that he's trying to put people in place that will simply be yes men and do what they're told.
Exactly. Sorry, Santana.
No. Go ahead. It is t-shirt time, but you're good. Go ahead.
Sorry, this is a very big issue. If you're hosting late nights again tomorrow, then I would love to come and expand a little bit more.
No, it's sparring tomorrow, but like we got late nights often, but you're always welcome. But no, go ahead and finish your thought, because there's two things I want to add to that, and it might take up a few more minutes.
So I was talking to my mom about this earlier, of we can kind of look back at Trump's last administration, the previous cabinet that he had, with his chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff at the time, General Mark Milley, and his initial Secretary of Defense, who was retired General James Mattis. Both of them have essentially said the exact same thing, which is this man is a tyrant. This man is a fascist. And if given the chance, he will 100% destroy this democracy. They are two of the most well-respected generals of the GWAT period. So when they say something that is that significant and that impactful, I am more inclined to listen to them than to any other source.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree. And so, fun fact, well, not even fun, just a fact. You guys talk about Dan raising Cain and him being the nomination for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He had a quote that I find super interesting. And the quote was him telling Donald Trump that he will unalive for him. Not himself, but other people. He will unalive other people for Trump. That's what makes him qualified in Trump's eyes.
And Trump had made the statement previously that he wants generals similar to what the Mustache Man had in 1930s and 1940s Germany. Someone
that didn't really work out.
I'm sorry?
I said that didn't really work out for him. They're a bunch of cowards.
Yeah.
Well, they did what he wanted without question. That's what he's looking for.
Right, but I don't think the generals from the Mustache Man didn't really do, especially towards the end of the war.
Well, they did until they didn't. That's the problem.
Exactly.
They did for enough time for what happened to be able to happen.
I mean, the earlier and middle part. Okay.
Hold on, guys.
Hey,
hold on. W's in the chat for Vegas. Vegas sent a $15 donation saying the only Raising Cane we acknowledge is the chicken restaurant. You better know it. I love me some Raising Cane. W's in the chat for Vegas for that $15 donation. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have a question for you. How long did it take for Mustache Man to dismantle the democracy of Germany?
I believe he got 33s when he got elected, and then Germany. Yeah, you can say Germany. Germany had the Enabling Act, which made basically everything fell apart pretty quickly. Which I think is different because a lot of people compare Germany back then.
How long did it take?
Oh, I think it was months, wasn't it? Or correct me if I'm wrong.
56 days.
Yeah, it was pretty short.
Right, that's not even 2 months. So right. This is why it's concerning.
Actually, you said how many is he?
56.
Oh, okay. I got 53.
He's in
I got 53. 53. Okay. So let's call it 54.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right. This right here is the concerning part, right? Because he came in with it's a very similar approach, right? It's a blitzkrieg of orders and legislation to be able to get in line what he is wanting, which is to create essentially a police state and to otherize a specific group to be able to target. This ties back to what we were discussing earlier, right? Using Guantanamo Bay as a place to hold these people that he is targeting very specifically with a significant amount of these executive orders, and using that as a holding place for them so that, guess what? They're not beholden to the protections given to them by the Constitution. It's also of note that he is wanting to use the prison in El Salvador, which is a very inhumane place. Also, for reference, according to the UN's Universal Human Rights Code, I believe it's Article 8 or Article 9, exile is illegal internationally. So that right there is, again, another violation of just another law. But the thing with what he is trying to do here is that he is wanting to be able to, because this is specific to United States citizens, right? when it comes
Certain
to
ones,
that,
yeah.
now, well, in anyone that he finds egregious enough, right, that can be a political prisoner, which would get his political enemies out of the way.
That's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying. Listen,
Can I?
go ahead. I was just about to say, listen, I don't understand why you guys came here and like started the really good conversation so late. I have a 5 a.m. meeting. We gotta wrap it up, guys. We gotta wrap it up. Go ahead, Haley.
Okay, I just wanted to point out because this is something that I've noticed is a trend in MAGA. Like, I just think it's a shame that in 2025 we're sitting here arguing about if Hitler's generals followed his orders or not, rather than addressing the fact that Trump said he wants generals like Hitler.
You know what? Hold on. So there's 2 videos that I posted on the old TikTok that got taken down, right? And they wouldn't let me post them. But if you guys there's like 280 of us hanging out here. If you're not following me on Blue Sky, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch, but if you're not following me on those other social media apps, especially YouTube and Instagram, I posted both of those videos on YouTube and Instagram. One is about a 3-minute video, specifically talking about Nick Fuentes and how he's just like, this Schnazi stuff is going too far. So you can check that one out. But one is just a 1-minute video. Yes, they're on YouTube as well. It's a 1-minute video, and it's just me pointing out things that are happening and how it actually connects to Hitler and all of that. So go to YouTube, matter of fact, follow me on YouTube and watch a couple of videos, do all the wonderful things. But go check out those 2 videos because you can't see them on TikTok. TikTok took those videos down. You can't see them. But I promise you, you got to check it out. Anyway, guys, we gotta go. Quick 10-second closing statements. I'm gonna start with Team MAGA. Team MAGA, thank you for coming up. What do you have to say?
Yeah. I think we had a great conversation.
Come back earlier in the live next time.
I know. What time do you start?
So we start at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Okay. I want to make one point on the general. Trump actually appointed him in 2020 as a Joint Chiefs of Staff. So I don't.
The current one that's up for.
No. Brown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was just like.
Wait, hold on. Did you say that he?
No, he didn't.
No,
yeah, he did.
No. General Milley was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in 2020.
He originally nominated General Brown to serve as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He didn't go to him, but he originally nominated him.
See,
it couldn't go to him because it was the Army's turn.
Like, you don't think it's crazy for you to sit here and say, well, he actually did it this year instead of why not address the fact that he said he wants generals like Hitler?
So MAGA, here. I just need to correct this. The way that the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff works is it works in a rotational basis, kind of similar. I don't know if you ever saw the Avatar: The Last Airbender series, but it works in the same cycle, right? It goes one branch to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah.
In 2020, it was not the Air Force's time for them to come up and be the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff. It was the Army's, which means that General Brown could not have been nominated for that position.
Izzy, he got it wrong. I'm sorry, Izzy, he got it wrong. I know what he's saying. Trump nominated C.Q. Brown to be the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, which was his job before, was his job before the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. He was the senior officer in charge of the Air Force.
Okay.
But the point I was trying to get, it wasn't racism is why he fired him. That's what I was trying to bring
arguably, again, I take your point. I would have a debate with you on that. Arguably, it was though, because who he fired was a black 4-star general and 2 female 4-star generals. So I'm sorry, that goes along with his getting rid of all DEI stuff. They consider anybody from a marginalized group, including women, to be DEI hires, and they're trying to get rid of them.
Yeah, back on what Hawk said, like,
let's go home.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just, cause like, I feel like it's a very Like, it's an easy statement to make that it was because of racism, because if you are firing someone over DEI, and his definition of DEI is that they are qualified enough, and then you go and promote someone who has less qualifications as that person who was in that position beforehand, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
Yep.
And arguably, his nominee will be the least qualified chairman of Joint Chiefs ever.
Absolutely. That's a common thread between most of the nominees, though. Am I wrong? That is a common thread between like almost every person. That's why they're DEI hires.
You know, my worst one is Hexa, an alcoholic 04. That shit.
There's a guy going to DHS as a DEI hire too, Santana.
DHS. Who?
I think he is.
Who are we talking about? Hold on. Who are we
Are
talking
you talking about Kash Patel?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Wait, Kash Patel is FBI.
No,
Who are we talking about?
That's not DHS.
Hold on.
You have to think about it for a second. I'll let it simmer.
Hold on, because I have it here. Hold on.
Okay.
Darn it, where is it? I have here, Trump's cabinets.
No, it's not the cabinet. It's just a lower level position.
DHS. Who are you talking about?
Kristi Noem?
No.
DHS or HHS?
Again,
no, DHS and Department of Homeland Security.
No, I thought he meant HHS too, but yeah,
right.
Noem is just.
Oh wait, you talking about Tulsi Gabbard? No, because that's intelligence.
No.
Who are we talking? Hold on.
No, he's talking about Kristi Noem.
Yeah, Kristi
No,
Noem. Kristi Noem was sworn in as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security by U.S. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas on January 25th, 2025.
But from his standpoint, Kristi Noem is one of them women that will do what she's told.
I was talking about a gentleman that came on here a while ago that he's going to DHS.
What's his name? You talking about Ryan or whatever? Oh, that's who you talking about. Yeah. Yeah. I know who you talking about. The guy Rain, whatever the guy name is. I know who you talking about.
Yeah, Ryan. I know who you talking
about. Yeah. He was. Yeah. Okay. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about like the official. Yeah, you're right.
Oh.
You're right. All right. Rolo, I'm gonna give you the last word because everybody else has talked a lot. Anything else from you?
No, I just want to say thanks for letting me up. I enjoy good discussions back and forth. So, yeah, just have a good night, guys, and thanks for having me up.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you, Rolo.
All right, guys.
Good night, everyone.
I'm going to drop all of you guys down. Thank you guys for coming up. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. Chat, as you guys can see on the screen, we got Carbon. Carbon.gg. Carbon.gg. We are going to go raid Carbon. Santana raid. We are going to raid Carbon. Guys, it is t-shirt time. I love you all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for all the likes, the taps, the shares. Thank you for being amazing. Thank you one more time for last week. Again, we raised $3,000 for Mutual Aid Week. Thank you all for being amazing in each and every night. I will see you all tomorrow for Sparring with Santana. I love you all, and as always, peace. And